Yes, sir.
Hey, that way. Hey.
Let's get it.
Hey.
So what's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the First and Foremost podcast. We are here, baby, with another list. Yes, another one. I hope you boys are ready. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones. Obviously, you got the boy right next to me, Mr. Bacon Network of the Bacon Network. Sorry, and we got my boy down there, Naj Wilkes. Obviously, Naj Wilkes on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and everywhere you can find it. Thank you guys so much for being here with us, man. We are super excited today because we got a brand new list for you. We're doing the Alabama edition, so this is gonna be crazy because Alabama is a different state from what we are. We all in Georgia right now, so we're gonna be doing a brand new state. Tapping in with them, getting some different resources. We're doing some research, and we come up with a new list, man. And I know a lot of you Alabama boys been asking, so we're here with you guys for sure. But before we get started, man, we want to first and foremost thank our sponsors for all they've been doing with us right there. So as I play around with our screen, thank you guys. As you see right up there, we are sponsored by Phenom. So thanks Phenom for allowing us to have the podcast. They are our sponsors. If you want to have some fresh gear, the season's about to start, man. So you got to get your fresh gear, and no other better way to do it than with Phenom. Phenom does a lot of great things with gloves and mouthpieces. So as you see right here, we got the mouthpieces. We got some gloves in here. We got different colors, like we got the red, we got the white, we got the black. Man, any color that you want, you can have it on Phenom. So it's PhenomEliteBrand.com, and use our promo code right up there at the top and save you some money as well. So you can look good, feel good, play good, and save some money. Save some cheddar, whatever you want to call it. You can definitely do that. So thank you guys so much for doing that. But before we get started, man, I want to see how you guys are feeling, bro. Naj, Bacon, how y'all feeling today, bro?
Smooth, man.
That's right.
Excited, bro. Don't let this. No, I was listening to your soliloquy about the Phenom merch. So I was locked in, but yeah, I'm grinning and skinning.
Yes, sir. How about you, Naj?
I'm good, man. No complaints, man. Glad to be here. Excited to talk about this list. Excited to talk about these Bama players. Definitely.
It's not gonna only be us, man. We got some special guests that's gonna be here as well. We got Unlock Your Game that's gonna be here. Also, DownSouth. They're gonna be on here. DownSouth is gonna come on a little bit later, but we got some great guys to help us break down this list that we have right now. But before we get to them, we want to get to our great, awesome segment, the first and foremost. So our first and foremost, I'm gonna start with you, Naj. What's your first and foremost, sir?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit y'all up over the head. Y'all seen it last night though, but Milton getting Braden Jacobs from Buford to transfer over. I think that was one of the weaknesses we said going into the season. That maybe a stronger defensive front maybe could cause a little problems. But when you got an anchor like Braden Jacobs who's committed to Clemson coming over, you feel pretty good at your tackle spot. You feel pretty good about what he can bring. And it makes Milton a lot better. It kind of fills the hole that we thought they had. And I think now they go into the season with little to no weaknesses. So, great job by them. For Buford, that's kind of tough to lose a guy of his caliber. With what you're trying to build, obviously got talent all over the field, but now they're going to have to ask some young guys to step up for him and come up big.
Definitely. What are you, Bacon?
For my first and foremost, I'm going to have two. I'm gonna start with the Olympics, man. If you haven't seen the Noah Lyles 100 meter race run, it's been some controversy. Obviously, the brother from Jamaica feel like he got cheated. his leg cross the line, and the rule is a chest extension. So will we see that rule change instead of the lean? Will it be a body part? Because the brother from Jamaica definitely, in my opinion, won the race. I know the brothers from America, he promoted himself well, but we'll see what that goes. So that's my first and foremost. Second one's got to be how fitting. I'm saying we're doing Alabama today. Head coach of Hoover, Coach Gilmer, is taking a leave due to some things that he's done. Videos have been released on WBTM if you want to check that out. So Hoover is no longer interim head coach has been appointed, but that's my first and foremost, one of two or two of two.
Yeah, my first and foremost is exactly what Nas was talking about, man. Braden Jacobs. I mean, I just did an interview with him about a few weeks ago, and the excitement that he was talking about when talking about Buford and why he transferred there and things like that. Just for a couple of weeks later for him to transfer again. So I don't know if he was planning to transfer when we talked, or this is something that just came up. But either way, man, good kid, solid kid. Very humble and quiet. A beast of a player. Obviously he's solid player in the NFL with the Giants. So he got a football family behind him. But for him to come on and play and go to Milton, I think that's going to be real big for Milton. Me and Nas just talked to one figure his name, Luke Nickel and CJ Wiley.
Yikes!
And they just got another huge weapon on our offense, man. So that's gonna be interesting to see how that goes, man. For sure. But that's gonna do it for our first and foremost, man. Like I said, we got some special guests on here. We got everybody here today, so we good. We ready to rock. I'm gonna introduce the guys. Actually, Bacon, I'm gonna let you introduce the guys, and then I'm gonna bring them on.
For sure. These two men, they're on the cutting edge of Alabama football. I think maybe unlucky game does a little bit of basketball, if I'm not mistaken. But these two brothers, man, if you want to tap into the Alabama scene and authentically know what it's talking about, and also get an inside scoop on Moody football that down south has. So these two gentlemen, like I said, down south and unlock your game, man. Tap in with these brothers as we welcome on, man.
There we go.
Now, what's going on with you?
What's up, everybody?
What's going
on? Yes, sir. Yeah. So we got the boys in here. Let me give them the horn.
Yeah. Hey, down south. I thought you were gonna join for another hour, man.
I tried to hurry up and get it done, man. They told me they said Bacon and Najee supposed to be pulling up. We got to make sure we set up the tents and stuff for them and make sure they treat it right.
There you go. There you go. Hey, man.
We got to get them the proper game day experience.
Hey, Moody style.
Yeah.
Well, we do appreciate you guys getting on for sure, man. I'm super excited to see the list and hear what you guys think of the list as well, man. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Honorable mentions. We released the honorable mentions a little bit earlier today, and we want to put that on the screen real quick. So these are the honorable mentions that we have here. We want to see what you guys think real quick. So here it is. Honorable mentions. Now, if you don't mind running through the players' names and,
All right, so you got Johnny Moody from Parker. Seen some really good things from his tape. What I'm saying? Just right outside the list for us, but we thought, he showed some good things. And then we didn't have any offensive linemen. We know it's a little different here in Georgia. We got a lot of staple offensive linemen. I know it's a little different in Bama, but we did want to put them on our honorable mentions list that could have a big year this year. That's Daniel Burns, obviously, and also Hudson Reed of Spain Park. So we feel like those guys could be really good. And then as you guys can see, Catholic has two really good offensive linemen in Caden Dees and also Daniel Burns. So those guys are really good. Emmanuel Ruffin is the name that somebody had recommended to me. I think he could have a potentially breakout year. Didn't see a lot of film, but I think he's just getting started. It's one of those stories like could potentially blow up at the end of the year. You never know. So I wanted to put him on this list as well. Dylan Purther, kind of same thing. Really good DB, physical. Like what he can bring to the table. Cardinal Jackson, man, good run stuffer. Really gets off blocks fast, gets into the backfield. I like JJ Bush a lot at linebacker. He does a little bit of everything for his team out there, and I like his versatility, man. Versatility does a lot for me. And last but not least, Kelston Tarver, running back. Had to put him on here, man. What he was able to do last year, I think he can come into his own, man, and have a really dominant year, man. So those are the players. But I'm gonna throw it to the gentleman down there. Those are the Alabama experts, man. That's just from what I've seen from film and seeing one or two of these guys in person.
Yeah, no doubt. I think you guys overall did a really good job with making the kind of like the honorable mentions list. Two guys, in my opinion, that I feel like sticks out a lot. Hudson Reed from Spain Park and Cardinal Jackson from Auburn, D-line from Auburn. Cardinal Jackson mixed in with Caleb Pitts, which is a nationally known type of guy within the state as well. So those two guys, you are right. Auburn's defense is, legit. I think Auburn is of course, being a powerhouse, but I think they can, make their case known for being one of the top perennial programs or contenders in 7A this year with the way that they had put it on Benjamin Russell, and overall they got some offensive weapons as well, but defensively they got more than enough to stand against some guys in Central Phoenix City, or even the other side of it, like Thompson and things like that as well. It's for Spain Park. If you didn't know, they moved down to 6A this year. But Hudson Reed is an offensive tackle that I feel like doesn't get a lot of credit, which is it's good that you guys got him on this honorable mention list too. Because I know that CJ Cowley and Shanks, the running backs, that tandem right there gets a lot of love. But Hudson Reed is one of those focal points and pieces across that offensive line that get that offensive line and that offense going on the ground. So those are two really good guys that I like, Hudson Reed and Cardinal Jackson.
Yeah, I agree with you. Auburn to me has to be one of the favorites in that tough region. Region 3 was always the toughest, but I think Region 2 is kind of taking that crown this year. And Jackson is going to be asked to do a lot. I like the Reed kid. It's a couple more offensive linemen. I think y'all sleeping on our offensive linemen in that 26 class. This is the 26 class, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a couple more. Auburn actually has one. Trenton Pritchard, I think, is a 26 kid, if I'm not mistaken.
Trenton Pritchard is a 26 kid. That is correct.
Yeah, it's a couple more. It's a couple more out there down in Mobile area. I'm pretty sure it's a couple of them north, Mars Hill, and a couple more of those folks. They keep some up north. But yeah, I agree. I like this list. I do like this list.
Yeah, like I said, those guys, just to give y'all a little bit more information about Auburn and just dive a little bit more in detail. Like DownSouth is correct. I feel like Region 3 has always gotten that rap of being the toughest, kind of like the SEC West of high school football, if you will. They get not Hewitt Trussville, but Hillcrest Tuscaloosa to move up from 6A to 7A, along with the Hoovers, the Thompsons, and then you got Hewitt Trussville. Excuse me, I know Hewitt Trussville was in there, but Hewitt Trussville. But ultimately, I think Region 2 is kind of taking that that SEC West to a whole nother level. Central Phoenix City, they came out with an outstanding offense. They got Dalen Upshaw coming back, which is a top perennial receiver in my opinion across the state, and should be recognized in the nation, to be honest with you. And then, like I said, Auburn is one of those teams that's always in the midst with Coach Eldridge coming from Oxford, and then even before that, he's always had those guys on the trail as far as being a top contender, and hopefully maybe this year will be their year. Unlike your Thompsons and Hoovers that's always been in the mix of winning 7A state titles, but ultimately that Region 2 is deep, man. Like not even just to kind of like say the least, but you got Carver Montgomery that got top. I'm talking about like some guys that's even on the list that y'all know, Zion Crumpton. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, you got Turbo on that team. If you don't know Anthony Rogers, get to know him. He played at IMG before. You know what I'm saying? He came back home. He played at Pike Road, won a state championship in 5A, and now he's back in 7A in probably arguably the toughest region. Then you got Dothan High, which has always had trench work. Lewis Snell. You know what I'm saying? Coach, what that coach does, what Coach Jed does there at Dothan High does not get enough credit. And then Enterprise, I feel like they had a lot of transfers on, like when we first got into, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not late, they didn't get their transfers in late for high school football. So they're kind of, going under the radar, Enterprise is, but they played really, really good against Saraland. And that's a team that's in that region too that everybody should be looking out for. And then Opelika, they seem to never make the playoffs, but they always have legitimate talent. Malik Ontry, Jamari Miller, Amari Smiley. They got a lot of different talent. They had Roman Gagliano last year that made an All-State list, so they always got good guys. They just never make the playoffs because this 7A Region 2 is so deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's gonna be a good team left out this year. It's gonna be a great team left out this year. Carver, I think, is a great team, but Bobby Carr is one of the most winningest coaches in Alabama. But I don't think they have the trench work yet to be able to compete with how they need to compete in that region. So yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. My favorite in that region is Auburn. I said it multiple times. I like Coach Etheridge, like you said. He wins. He won at Oxford. He won at Leeds. He wins, so I like that coach, man. And he seems to have those kids ready to run through a brick wall for him. And you got to love coaches like that. So as far as that region, I'm siding with Auburn.
I think across the board, guys that I've talked to that's in the space across Alabama that does sports media, they know what Central Phoenix City done last year against Thompson. A lot of guys didn't think that was going to be possible. They thought Thompson was going to repeat as champions, but ultimately, I think that the way that the only 2 losses last year that Auburn had was against Central Phoenix City, and they bring back probably more offensively. They're more offensively. They have more offensive talent, is what I'm trying to say. Like Omar Mapson, Peyton Plott, that's a transfer from Carroll. The quarterback, I forgot his name, but he's a guy that's been in the system. But overall, having trench work and offensive talent is going to win you that region too. And that's what we've seen last year with Central Phoenix, and that's what we may see with Auburn. So defensively, back to you guys' point for the honorable mention list, they have the guys that's under the radar that do contribute in a big and impactful way. So I think what you guys got going on with the honorable mention list with having him on there mixing well with what Auburn can even do this year in high school football.
Yes, sir. Jay,
going to add anything?
25. Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Let's get to 25 through 21. Let's get to it. So,
all right, y'all. So we'll start at 25, man. Again, I know this list. I know y'all gonna look at it crazy. I know some people like, what the hell is y'all doing? I already know, man. I know it's coming. I know the Alabama experts gonna say the same thing. But what we like to do, y'all, we like to identify talent that people are sleeping on. This is what we do in the Georgia list. We don't go like down south. Unlike again, we don't go off of what 247 has. Like we might use it as a mild look and see, but we won't go straight from their rankings. We won't go straight from 0-3. Like we kind of just do it kind of how we do it. Players that we seen, that we high on, that we think can take off. So 25, Chancellor Sparks, I think can have a big year. Just was recently down a 3-star type player. From 247 Sports, man. I think he's electric in the open field. He runs track. Made it all the way to state this year, man. I think that the kid is brewing a big time year, and I think people are finally kind of starting to take notice of what he can do, man. I've seen him multiple times now. I've seen him at the UA camp in Nashville. I've seen him at the Hoover 707 on Saturday when I was there, and I've been impressed every time, man. So I know he don't have the stats maybe to back up this ranking, but I'm telling y'all, don't sleep. Parker is expected to have a good year. Him and many other players that are on this list, you're going to see why. Brock Bradley, another player that we've seen at Hoover. I just think the kid can sling it, man. Like he's very accurate, good mental processing. He don't take long. He not playing all day. Like he just know his reads, know where it's at, and he dotting the football, man. So I think when you have a type of quarterback like that, you feel pretty good. Again, like I said, Spain Park's going down the division, but when you have a quarterback that knows the system's been in there for a little while and knows where he's supposed to go with the ball, hey, man, he had to make this list. And then 23, that's Josiah Dozier. So I know he probably not on anybody's list this high. But I'm telling y'all, man, go look at the summer film. Go look what he was doing 7-on-7. Him and Johnston, Charlie, in that connection, you could just it just like Josiah's one of those dudes you could tell like he just waiting for his opportunity. He didn't get it necessarily last year as much so. I've talked to Coach Gannis and Moody. I'm telling y'all, man, he's going to be the number one guy for Moody this year, man. And I think he's going to go off. I wouldn't be surprised if he have over 900 to 1,300 yard type season and 10-plus touchdowns. That's the kind of potential he has. He just got to get the opportunity, which he will this year. And I think the kid going to go off. 22, Amar Mapson, man. The kid's a stud. Man, you just watch that film, dog. Hey, good luck trying to tackle that dude. You know what I'm saying? Good luck trying to tackle that dude. And his burst is special. this kid, you can make the argument, should be in the high teens. That's how elite that dude is. So kid can play, man, and I really like him. And last but not least, if I turn to the brothers, Deshaun Spencer. This one I struggle with because I felt like he should have been higher too. This dude just an athlete. Like, you just give him the ball in space, he making you pay. I mean, this kid is returning punts, kicks. They handing the ball off to him, and then he plays for Saraland. Like, Saraland, y'all know how good that team usually is. And he was I think second in the depth chart. Like, the kid is just special, man. I think, he gonna show more people this year when he gets more time and has a more defined role as well on the team. And y'all gonna see Deshaun Spencer take off as well.
Yeah, so Saraland, I'm gonna go backwards from you. Saraland has Sante McWilliams right now, and Sante McWilliams is another D1 kid. Love him. I think right now Saraland is loaded offensively, has little defense, so it'll be the KJ Lacey and the offensive show, So it's gonna be interesting to see. They got game 1 against Jackson, I think. Number 2, Omar Mapson. Listen, bro, and I'm gonna stamp this. This the best running back in the 26th class. It's 2 kids, and I sent it to you, Bacon.
Yeah.
It's 2 running backs in the 26th class in Alabama. It's Cameron Fanese and Omar Mapson that are like that. I promise you, they are like that. I seen this young fella at Dothan, and just the way he run. If you go on his Twitter profile, like, he's lifting like a lineman. Like, he's doing incredible stuff. He's doing incredible stuff. 23, Joe, man. Joe is a dude, man. He's a dude that's waiting for his chance. He's like, it's crazy because last year I seen his growth. I seen his growth from last year into this year. His frame is bigger. He's lining all the wide receivers up, making sure everyone, hey, you need to get off the line. You get on the line. Joe is taking things way more seriously. And it's beautiful. That kid is a dude. His cousin plays at Arkansas for the Razorbacks, and I expect him to play on Saturdays also. Brock Bradley, man, it's an understatement. This kid he's special, man. He can throw that. He can spin it. He can really spin it. Coach V will put it in his hands for him to be able to do what he do. And then Starks, as we all said, like, that kid is a dude. He is another dude. And they have a duo. Terrence Gaines Jr. Is another kid. He's a 25 kid, but that's gonna be a hell of a duo to try to stop right there, man. So I like the list. I do think Omar should be up further in this list. Like, he should probably be in the top 10 or top 15 in my opinion. But I like how it's starting out.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll one up down south on Omar Mapson. I got a chance to actually meet Omar when, it was like a camp that was held in Birmingham, and it was like 2 years ago. And I just remember watching him and just visually placing him as, what he would be now, coming up into, like, from his sophomore year to junior year, and he's about to take off now. You know what I'm saying? With getting SEC offers. I think, Georgia is the latest one to get him like kind of like offer him things like that as well. Just overall, he's an SEC style back. The only back that I know personally that I was like, yo, he's an SEC back was freaking Quishon Judkins, and was at Ole Miss, and now he's at Ohio State. And I watched him play in that championship game, and I was like, he's gonna be a dude, and he's ended up being a dude. So that's the same type of, mentality or kind of like, thought process when I look at Omar. He's definitely a banger. He just haven't really had the chance to really showcase it on a national or a statewide level yet. Of course, getting kind of stubbed out by Central Phoenix City. Once he gets to that level, or once Auburn gets to that level, it seems like it's probably about to be the Auburn show. But once they kind of like get to that level where they're competing for, state titles and everything, that's when, you'll see kind of like that trickle down effect to where, like, hey, he's not top 20. He's more of a top 10, top 5 type player for the state. So I think Omar is severely underrated. And he's definitely going to be on the rise. If you didn't watch his game film against Benjamin Russell, like I said, dude can run between the tackles like no other, catch out the backfield, smooth like butter. More of like a Saquon Barkley type guy, man. To be honest, I'm not even like fluffing right now. Like, he's more of like he's a big, healthy size back, but he's smooth, man. So I really like Omar. I can't talk about Omar enough. Another guy that I feel like, that, honestly, in the 7-on-7 world, I feel like he's just right as far as like, the way y'all rank them. But Josiah Dozier, man, like he's a gritty kid. And at receiver, you need a guy that's gonna be gritty, a guy that's gonna go get it, a guy that's gonna go get that yak for you, that yards at the catch for you. You know what I'm saying? So him and that, Charlie, that duo, man, like you're absolutely right. Like he's gonna push for 1K plus. Like I can see it, him getting 1K plus, 10 plus touchdowns. It's gonna be a really good season for Moody. So the further they get into the the playoffs and hopefully that state title that they're wanting, the more Josiah Dozier's name that you'll probably start hearing. Deshaun Spencer, really a guy that's gonna be kind of, he's gonna be more of that guy that's gonna be splitting reps, like with what DownSouth said with Sante. Sante is a guy that small guy, but at the same time tough in between the tackles. Don't get enough love either, but he's gonna be splitting time with him. Talking about Spencer, and that's why I would probably say I would knock Spencer down and have Omar above him, and then maybe even switch Chancellor Sparks with Spencer as well. Understand that he's with Saraland, but at the same time, I feel like there's more upside right now for those two players than it would probably be Spencer. And then with Sparks, I've already hit it on the head. They're going to have a really good tandem. Really, Parker's offense is not going to let anybody down, and Parker's defense is really not going to let nobody down. It's all going to be about how they gel together. If they can gel together quickly enough, I think they on the road against Hoover, and they got like 6 straight like tough games, and that's counting Carrollton. So we'll see what they really about with Carrollton, and then we'll see kind of like before all this stuff happened with Hoover and things like that. That, in my opinion, was going to be a measuring stick game to see how far they are actually prepared for the playoffs. Like, because nobody's measuring Parker off of the regular season. We're measuring Parker if this is going to be a championship season. Like, that's what it's going to be about. Is this a championship team? Of course it is on paper. But is this a championship team when we get down to December? When it's December 5th, 8th, whatever it's going to be, is this going to be a championship team that we see out of Parker? So I don't think anybody's worried about offensive talent or defensive talent. We know that Sparks is, you know what I'm saying, he's lightning, he's smart, you know what I'm saying? So other than that, I just think that, it's a good intro for a guy like himself to get on the board, because he balled out against Hewitt Trustville in their spring game too, catching an amazing touchdown in the back of the end zone. So I think it's a really good intro to 21 through 25. But if I were to beat the drum for anybody, I would say Omar Mattson needs to be higher, and then Brock Bradley. He's kind of in the same predicament. He hasn't had a chance to really showcase who he is and what he is about because of just getting in that Region 3. You getting beat by Thompson, you're getting beat by Hoover, you're getting beat by different teams in that region. But ultimately, Brock Bradley is one of the top premier quarterbacks in our state. And after this season, I don't think it's going to be anything wrong with putting him top 10, top 5, because it's going to be that type of year. Even though they may have lost, a perimeter receiver or whatever. But I think Brock Bradley is a gamer. He's a dog, and more importantly, I think that they can actually get far in 6A, and I don't think anybody's talking about it.
And I heard he picked up a wide receiver. I ain't gonna, I'm not the one to break news or nothing. I don't do all that, but I heard he picked up a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Becky, you got anything you want to add?
Man, it was covered very thorough by the brothers, man. But I will touch on just Josiah, just an athlete, like y'all said, wound, really tight, explosive, man. So definitely gonna be interested in. I'm expecting big things from Josiah, man. Like you said, just the connection with Charlie. I'm not gonna get into all that. Everything has been said, but yeah, I just want to shout out Mr. Josiah Dozier for sure.
100%. All right, let's get to our next part of the list. That's going to be 20 through 16. So as we go, here we go.
Yeah, this one's wild as well. I know y'all gonna look at this crazy. But at 20, I'll start there with Kentrell, man. Another guy I've been impressed with, man. I've seen him a couple times now as well. At Parker, again, seen him at Hoover and seen him at the UA camp, man. And the kid is long. Had a really good season last year, 335 yards receiving. I think the kid is special, man. He does same kind of thing, man. Same situation with Josiah. They got a really good receiver outside on the other side with him. I really think Kentrell, man, can make some noise this year, man. Good 50-50 ball catcher. good with yak yardage, man. I think he's gonna have a really good year for Parker. Now Zion Gibson, he's heavily rated on 247 and on 3. Now we have not seen him in person. We just kind of going off the film. I think he's a really good open field tackler. I think he's good in run support and play recognition. Made some pretty good plays. Had 17 tackles. Runs the 100-yard dash with a 10.85 pretty fast. I just think he hasn't maybe shown all the potential yet of what he could be. I think he is a very talented individual. But I do think he's raw in some areas. So I know this one is kind of crazy, but in my eyes, y'all, for Unlucky Game and obviously down south, I think Jordan Holmes' potential is through the roof, bro. You go roll his tape. I think he's one of the best cornerbacks in this class in Alabama. Like that's how special that kid can be. And as y'all can see, Pike Road is loaded. So that's another team that should go far in the postseason. Man, they got dudes everywhere. Like I was looking at they tape and they film. Pike Road is lower. And I just think Jordan Holmes plays the ball a little bit better, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I think he's more of a playmaker because he's so physical and come up and make a hit. But I feel like that guy can go pick the ball off, get you steal you a possession, get you a possession back, man. And I think he reads the ball well. So that's why we kind of had him high. I think he could be even better than that. And then 17, we had Zion Crumpton of Carver Montgomery. Y'all talked about them earlier. Obviously, them having Anthony Rogers coming back this year for them after transferring from IMG Academy. Just a nice receiver, man. Real physical, man. I like how he high points the football, man. I think the kid is only scratching the surface of his potential as well. Another really good player for them. And then Braylon Outlaw, man, I like this kid as well, man. He can do a little bit of everything for you. You know what I'm saying? Another versatile type player, real physical linebacker, downhill. Yeah, man. When I watched that film, I was left in awe, man. What he was able to do, on the gridiron, man. I think the kid has something special. And like I said, Pike Road's loaded, man. So they got kids all over. But I'm gonna throw it to Bacon on this one to start.
Yeah, 100%, fellas. Please enlighten us if y'all feel strong that Zion Gibson is way too low. We're watching the film. Way too low.
I seen him at the Georgia camp. Kid popped out the screen. T-Rob offered him on the spot. I swear to God, like, bro, I promise you, like he had every coach looking at their watch like this. Like I seen him at the Georgia camp, bro. Like, man, and I get what Najee's saying though, as far as technique.
Yeah.
But also didn't he play with Draco Patrick Jr. last year? Like, yes. I mean, he was limited to what he could do because, he had a teammate that was very special also. So I think this year he could step up into that same role that Draco Patrick Jr. was playing. Yeah, I don't know. I like Gibson though. I like him a lot, man. I really do. I like him a lot.
No, I like him. I like him enough to say that he should arguably be like top 3, to be honest with you. And I'll tell you why. It's not just because of, the size of measurables. I mean, he's 6'1", 6'2", fluff type area. You know what I'm saying? He can run with the best of them, run 4.4 speed, stuff like that. But we've seen glimpses of what he can do with the ball in his hands on special teams, on offense, on, different types of things outside of just playing your fundamental style of DB. He's not going to really get outran or being out physical just because of his sheer size. So I think that's a plus in my opinion. With Jordan Holmes, he's a great, and when you're 5'11" or shorter, you have to be fundamentally sound. You have to be, a technician. You have to be a craftsman at your position. So there's no slight on him being undersized as a corner because you see, at the highest level where we'll see, Asante, Samuel Jr. will be a great corner, even his dad being a great corner in the league. So you will see different guys like that'll be, on the radar and maybe get, missed a lot of times, but at the same time, they will spark at different, Power 4 level schools, G5 level schools, even FCS level schools. But as far as the tangibles, the things that you cannot teach, I think that's why I would say Gibson could go against, some of your number one guys like, Sedarian Morgan and win 50 out of 100 of those reps, half of those reps. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that is a player that at 19, it's a little bit short. Overall, I feel like his ceiling is way higher than some of those players in between that 20 to 16 range that you have there. Outside of Zion Crumpton, I feel like he is another guy that I feel like can, boom a little bit with that offense that we know that Coach Carr is, used to, getting guys that just I mean, they're going to win. They're going to have one of the most explosive offenses in that region, in the state, to be honest with you. But those two guys, I would say for sure, have a ceiling night like no other. And it's not just the ceiling that I'm excited about, but it's the overall production that he's done on the special teams. Talking about Gibson, that he's done special teams, which that's punt returns, kick returns, getting just overall interceptions and things like that. So I would say that 19 is a little bit low for Zion Gibson there. Kentrell Davis, I feel like he's right where he needs to be as far as like overall, Parker offense, because you just have so many weapons. So his ceiling is going to be kind of limited to what he's going to be able to do. And we're talking off of just, a performance-based type list on what we feel like these guys can do in the 2024 season. But I feel like he's one of those guys where we're going to have to see him kind of what is it. That's that gelling aspect of it. Where is it going to be him? Is it going to be Jacoby Quates one day? Is it going to be Terrence Gaines one day? Is it going to be Chandler Sparks at 25 one day? So we're going to have to see what he's actually going to be able to do. Of course, he can go get the 50-50 ball, but what is the stats going to look like when it comes to the end of the season to where he can climb on his list as a 2026 member of you guys' list?
Braylon Outlaw, man, I love Braylon Outlaw. His recruitment picked up. I know his brother Sid is a good guy. Pike Road is a great program. Kentrell, I love Kentrell, man. He's like a little joystick. He's very shifty. He's very shifty. If you let him catch you, he's gonna put you on a highlight reel and you will be looking funny. Like he's gonna he got the too. So you gotta watch him, Crumpton's like that. I actually seen Carver, they had OTAs. So yeah, Carver's gonna be a problem, man. They got so much speed, and then they got another running back besides Turbo that's damn good too. The biggest question with Carver is the trenches. Their wide receiver play though is incredible. They can get the ball out to their athletes and create havoc. Holmes, I like Holmes too, but I have to agree with Unlock Your Games, man. To me, out of these five right here, Gibson to me just stands out, kind of like how Omar did with the other group. Gibson stands out of all of them. But I definitely love Kentrell. I definitely love Outlaw and all the rest of these kids.
Yeah, I think the one thing that if you just sit down and kind of just listen to just overall what we speak about for Alabama football is that if you want to compete, it's not just about how much you can score, especially when you get into your higher classifications. Carver Montgomery is no secret. They got a 3-headed monster at what they do. You know what I'm saying? So they got two legitimate receivers, and I mean they got a running back that's top of his class. So I'm just like they can score with anybody, but it's all about Auburn got the trenches. On the defensive and offensive side, Dothan has the trenches on the offensive side. Enterprise, a team that we don't even speak about enough time, has it. Have different star guys at different levels of their defense, from corner to safeties to a guy that can play athlete both ways. Eric Winters, that is Auburn commit, play both ways. Even what's my guy name that transferred from Charles Henderson?
Zion
Grady. So I'm like he a defensive end that he had a lot of sacks when he was at Charles Henderson. They lost to Ramsey in the 5A state final. So I'm just like that's a team that got it in the trenches. And then Opelika, Malik Entree, Amari Smiley got it in the trenches. So Carver's gonna be a team, and Zion's gonna be a player that's gonna produce. But what is it going to mean if you're down getting those garbage time touchdowns or getting those garbage time type yards? Is that going to mean anything to kind of like, your strength of schedule is there, but what is it going to mean if you're sitting there and you are 4-6 or 6-4 and you're barely making it or a first round exit out of the playoffs? What is it really going to mean? So that's one thing that I really consider as far as like what's the yardage, what's the touchdown, what's the accolades actually mean to the actual player and apply it as such.
Real football played in November. I mean, real football is played in November, and it gets cold. Those hits get a little, they start stinging a little bit more. So hey, we gonna see if they really want it. I love Bobby Carter. I love what he's doing for the west side of Montgomery over there in Carver, Montgomery, man. So I'm rooting for him, but we know what Pike Road put out Spanish Fort, who won championships. You know, Gaston City sticks around. Wasn't they in 7A at one time? I think Gaston City was actually in 7A.
They were in 7A. They were getting thracks though in 7A.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, Parker, you know, so it'll be interesting, man. Real football is played in November, but I'm happy for any football. I'm going to a jamboree or something next week. You know, I'm just ready to smell the nachos and see something.
And another thing, I like how, you know, when I see guys that I notice a lot of names and I know a lot of different, you know, just overall just covering the state for so many years and stuff like that. But when you get a chance to see names that you really don't get a chance to cover that much, or you don't really know them as much, that would really like gets me going. So Braden Outlaw, I've got a chance to see his name, and they actually got another kid. I think he transferred from somewhere. I can't remember where he transferred from, but his name is Amari Smith. He's a linebacker as well. And I believe he transferred to Pike Road. But Pike Road is one of those teams where they're really sneaky. They don't really put out their business like that. The only business that you might know about them is they running back and they quarterback. Like, that's the only two players you're going to know. You're going to know Casey Myers, and you're going to know Jermichael Jones. You're going to know them two. But you ain't going to know really too much about it until it's time to put the pads on. And that's one thing I can respect about Pike Road, just overall, how they keep their business. And then when they come out to play, you be like, God damn, like what they got going on over there? You know what I'm saying? So that's a really solid spot for a 26 linebacker Outlaw. And I really like the name Outlaw as a linebacker too. So I think that's really dope, like, to have a name like that.
100%. Definitely, man. I like that last name too. Outlaw just sounds like he about to thrash somebody.
Yeah, he about to X him out, bro.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Let's get to 15 through 11.
Let's do it. All right, man. So 15 is Keon Chapman. Obviously, he plays with Jackson, so y'all know he played with Landon Duckworth, man. A really impressive team. What I like the most, y'all, is that he's their go-to weapon, right? Had over 6'4", 195. He had 546 yards receiving. And I think an underrated part is he's a very strong lower body. Like, it takes a lot to kind of bring him down. And he's running, you know, for a minute. And then he only did it on 18 catches. You know what I'm saying? So imagine this year. He definitely should be featured more. So I think he's going to have a great year. Jermichael Jones, as y'all been mentioning throughout before we mentioned him, you know, just an outstanding running back for them, man. 1,166 yards, 19 touchdowns. He's rated as a 4-star prospect, very physical. And what I like about his game, y'all, he not just sometimes you'll see kids, they like to bounce to the outside. This dude runs in between the tackles. You know what I'm saying? And he's lowering his shoulder and he's hitting you and bursting. Like, he don't waste no time. And I think it takes a lot to bring him down. Some carries, he got 3-4 guys on him. He carrying them for 6-7 yards, man. Like, coaches rave about that. Coaches love that. So another player, you know, we had to rate 13, Tristan Lyles, man. I've got the chance to interview him. I've always been impressed with his game. You know, I think he had 89 tackles last year. You know, I think double-digit sacks, man. Just doing it as a sophomore in Central Phoenix City, and y'all know how good they are, man. So I think this kid is just scratching the surface of how good he can be. And I think he's absolutely special. 22 QB hurries. It's a wrecking ball on the field, man. 16 sacks last year. Really, really special kid. And then Keenan Britt, obviously about to announce his commitment here pretty soon. But another just dog, man. You know, last season, 101 tackles he had, 8 tackles for loss, 6 sacks. I feel like you kind of compare apples to apples when you think about Lyles and also Britt, man. They both good. And what I do like about Britt's game is they line him up everywhere. They line him up at the tackle. They line him up at edge, linebacker. And he's effective at each position. You don't find it everywhere, man. So that versatility is going to help him on the next level for sure. And any college that gets him, they should be super excited, man. It's extremely disruptive and effective. And then at 11, Jonah Winston, we got to see him at Carrollton when they had the UA camp, man. And also, you know, I think we've seen a little bit of him at the Hoover tournament. I mean, again, this is a kid, this good deep ball threat, man. Good strong hands. Doesn't take much for him to get separation, man, and reel it in. And this is another special kid, we think, as well, one of the top receivers.
For sure. I'll say this.
You really did I cut somebody off?
Yeah, I'm gonna just say this real quick, and I behind the back pass to y'all, man. One thing about Jonah Winston that Naj didn't mention, lines up at the running back position, right? Just electric, how it just can I'm saying, kind of weave through the tight holes and get a burst and make big plays, explosive plays, get to the end zone. Keenan Britt, Naj said the same thing, just move him around everywhere. Got a nice, in my opinion, an elite swim move that can get him anywhere in between the D tackle and the guard, as well on the outside against the tackle. Tristan Lyles, similar player. I'm be honest. I'm saying I think Keenan could have been a little higher, but Tristan Lyles is definitely explosive coming off the edge and will lay the boom on you if you're not careful. Then last thing, I slide to the bros. Just a little update information on Keenan Britt's recruitment. Had a chance to talk to him this past Sunday. He said he wants to blaze his own trail. Obviously, we know his brother KJ he went to Auburn. He says Auburn is still in the play, and he put out his top 5. But he says he's down to 4. Also hear some outside noise from UCF, some other schools. But you know what I'm saying? I'm put out a piece is gonna have more information, but I just want to put that out there to the people. So my bad to cut you off, unlock your game.
No, you totally fine. I just wanted to give Najee his props about the Keenan Britt and Tristan Lyles comparison, because I really do like both of their games a lot, you know, but Britt is of course more versatile. You can line him up, you know, stand up edge or put a hand in the dirt, or where I feel like he's gonna be where he plays his college days at linebacker, more of inside linebacker. He does have an older brother, like you mentioned, Bacon, KJ Britt, that played at Auburn, went to the league, played at the Buccaneers and things like that as well. So I mean, we're actually going to do some work with Oxford this year, so I'll get a chance to really really get to just know him and that team, him and Mason Mills, the quarterback of that Oxford Yellow Jackets team. But I just really wanted to give you a props on that one, because for someone that's in Georgia to know kind of like that kind of, you know what I'm saying, similar comparison and kind of like compare and contrast those two players, that's really good stuff. So I just wanted to give you your props on that, on those two players. The same way that you're hyped up on Jermichael Jones at 14 is the same way that you need to be hyped up on Omar Matson this year, though. I will say that. Okay. As far as like, if you like Jermichael Jones's style of play, then Omar Matson is going to be that guy for you as we go into the 2024 season. Keon Chapman, I feel like is a great spot. Of course, I don't want to kind of spoil it, but he has other weapons on the Jackson offense that he can kind of get it to. So I feel like 15 for Keon Chapman is a perfect spot for Mr. Landon Duckworth up here to kind of do his thing across the board. I think Jackson's gonna be. They got cut short last year, man, and it upset a lot of people. I don't think that people really expected Jackson to really cut last year. So I think the revenge tour is in full effect, and Keon Chapman, Jamarian Gordon, all those guys are gonna be. Even some guys that's under the radar, that's not on this top 25 list, that are 25 guys or 26 guys. That Jackson is gonna be back, man. But like I said, as far as Jonah Winston, this one, in my opinion, I feel like I'll tell you more about myself. So we do a podcast as well, and I feel like I'm not as high on Hoover. This ain't got nothing to do with what's going on today, what happened today. But I just feel like I'm not high on Hoover just because of what they've had to endure the last 2 seasons with Coach Waldrop and what they've been accustomed to in years past when they won state titles in 2017 and when they won a region title in 2022 and 21. So I feel like they're going to take a back seat still continuously. I know that, this is me thinking before this whole Glimmer stuff had happened. But when a coach coming into his first season, it's all about getting and developing their culture. Of course, you're going to get guys. Matt transfer from Gardendale. He's come in. He's done a good job. Just kind of, taking over that new round of Hoover football. But ultimately, I don't think that, Jonah's going to have – he's going to get his, but I don't think he's going to have – because he was a quarterback last year, of course. But I don't think he's going to get his because of them having another receiver named Reggie Jackson that just transferred in this past year. And you're going to have 2 alpha receivers that's trying to be vying for the ball, and you only have 1 ball. So I don't feel like his stats is going to add up with, if Keenan Britt gets 9 sacks or 100+ tackles and they go to, the 3rd or 4th round or semifinal round. If Tristan Lyles is coming off of a double-digit sack year and just won a state championship, Jermichael Jones, we're thinking Piper Road is going to extend upward, not go backwards. So I just think that someone's going to have to fall down, and I'm not saying Keon Chapman is better than Jonah Winston, But all I'm saying is that 4A offense is way better right now collectively than what Hoover is putting out right now. In my opinion, I may be wrong, but I think that what, Landon Duckworth, Keon Chapman, Jamarian Gordon, I can't think of my other little receiver name, but he's more of like a slot receiver. But overall, that offense has had more time to gel, click, and form a formidable offense compared to what Hoover. So, if anything, I probably would slide Jonah back just a little bit and probably put Keon Chapman up just a little bit. Maybe mix in, put them in between, maybe like Keenan or Tristan and Jermichael or something like that. But I really like that select five. Like, that's a really good solid five.
Yeah, man, Winston is like, to have wide receiver by his name is just disrespect, because the kid is an athlete, man. Like, before the playoffs started, he wasn't playing quarterback. He started playing quarterback towards the end of the year when they went on that run. That just showed. But the kid is a blur. He is a blur. Like, you line him up, the straight speed is second to none. I kind of disagree with y'all as far as the Britt and Lyles comparison. To me, Kenan Britt should not be on the line. I thought he was playing out of place when he was on the line. I think that's why they lost, because they ran straight at the young fellow. But one of y'all said something about the swim move. His swim move is so nasty, though. The overhand swim move is so nasty, and he can play with a guard. But when it's time to really bow up, it's hard because he's undersized. So having him stacked like that, and they do like this little 3-3 stack, it's not a good fit. But him as a backer, I think, would be crazy. Lyles is a different animal, man. His hands is always constantly moving. Violent hands. He trains with my jit. It's just, man, it is nice. The way the young fella moves. When I first seen him, it was his first time coming up there to train with us, and his footwork and his hands, I was like, yeah, he's been doing this for a minute. I could just tell, like, he's been doing this for a minute. But I seen Britt also at Under Armour, and he had a nasty spin move on the outside. So I instantly thought, like, if he played more of a 5-7 wide 9, I think it'll be more effective. But when they try to use him as the 4-eye or 3-tech, I think that's putting him at a disadvantage, and it's putting your defense at a disadvantage too. Chapman kid is lights out, man. I don't know if y'all been hearing about Jackson, but Jackson been putting belt down there during the summer in 7-on-7. They won at South. They've been putting belt on people. For a 4A school, been putting belt. Saraland was there. It was a lot of other schools that was there at South Alabama, and they was putting belt on folks. So yeah, Jackson is serious, and Jermichael Jones, man, he's another kid that's like that. I like him. I don't know if I have him over Omar or Starks necessarily, but I do like the kid, and I think he has the potential to be a D1 back.
100%. I really like to piggyback off what y'all said about Keon. This is his ability to go up and make crazy catches, man. It kind of not heavily, but it's kind of Cedarian Morgan like to go up and grab some balls like that. So I definitely wanted to highlight him again and say that.
That's a fact. I promise you. I'm gonna send you the clips when we get off of here, man. They was dogging folks out at that 7-on-7, bro. I don't think no team want to go up there and play them anymore during the summer, because they was looking real sharp. I think this Saraland Jackson game is gonna be a game to go watch. Must see TV.
You think they're gonna win by 30?
I ain't gonna say that.
20?
I ain't gonna say that either. I'm not picking the side right now. I'm not picking the side. But I will say, if Duck gets off good, this could be a.
It's honestly, it just really just depends on what. I haven't heard anything what Jack. I know they have a kid named what's my kid name? It's like Nylan something. But at the same time, you got to think on. I know
Scott.
that we're saying, yeah. So we're saying that basically, they don't have any defense. Talking about Saraland, but if one player can wreck a whole game, it's going to be Antonio Coleman on a 4A opponent. We're talking about like a Power 5 guy through and through that can literally wreck a game, and you know the nose guard got the quickest pass to the quarterback. So I'm just like, if he can get, that's gonna speed up the clock on everybody. So I'm just like, we're not talking about like, you know, we know that KJ Lacey's that offense is gonna put up 30 plus, so they're not gonna get held down to, you know what I'm saying, 20 less points. So if they can put up points, like, of course Jackson's gonna put up points, but who's gonna steal a possession? Who's gonna force a fumble? Who's gonna speed up the clock and force that quarterback to throw an interception? And I would trust Saraland and that defense to do it before Jackson do it to KJ Lacey. You know, so that I think it's gonna be a tight game. But at the end of the day, you're talking about like they score points, but at the end of the day, we're talking about a 6A opponent that's performed on the highest level, and we're talking about a 4A contender. We ain't talking about a team that, you know, won anything yet. We're talking about teams that, you know, done good in camp, done good at OTAs, done good in 7-on-7s. But tell me what they've done here recently that solidifies them as a, you know, a champion. Like we haven't seen that yet. And until we see that yet, that's where we get the respect of, hey, you know, that 7-on-7 footage is real deal. Like when we see Trent Seaborn out there slanging and it's looking like, you know, Swiss cheese out there on defense, like that's what they're gonna look like. That's what they're gonna look like on Friday night. You know what I'm saying? So until it's that moment, until we see that. Now I know they played Fairhope, which is a Sunday opponent as well. I ain't counting Jackson at all. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's just who's gonna steal that possession or two is gonna take that difference in that first overall game, because it's gonna be a lit game for the first game of the year. And I know that, you know, everybody from, you know, the Mobile area, from the Gulf Coast area, all that stuff is gonna be lit. But ultimately, it's just gonna be who's been there. And Kate's been there, Antonio's been there, Sante's been there, Dylan Alford's been there, even though he moved in last year and got into, you know, to the championship run with them last year that ended up losing to Clay. But you've had guys.
It's a different team, man. It's a different team. They've lost their whole line. The defense gone.
It may be, and that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, it may be a different team, but you still got coaching staffs that's put together. You still got QBs that still want to win. That, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna win 6A or not, but you still got players that are just like that. And just from a standpoint of just defensively, if Antonio Coleman can compete against, you know what I'm saying, 6A guys week in and week out and dominate like he's done the last 2 seasons, then he can dominate against a 4A line. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But he's the only one. I'm telling you, it's thin. Listen, Coach Kelly, if you're hearing this, I apologize. You know, don't come in.
No,
don't ban me from your games, Coach Kelly. I'm just saying my opinion is that
there are two legitimate programs. I'm just saying that one is a championship team and one is a great team. There's no other way I can slice it. I'm not saying that Jackson's trash or, you know what I'm saying, Saraland is just awesome. All I'm saying is that in 4A football, usually, I mean, I'll take this for example. I'll go into overall what South football has done this past year. So you got Mobile Christian, literally Floyd, like the big defensive tackle, like he literally wrecked Madison Academy's game. Like he wrecked it. And Madison Academy had one of the best offenses in 3A football. He wrecked it by himself. Kentonio Kelly was a great player, led the state in tackles.
Yep.
So we're talking about guys that are 3A football players, and we're talking about a 6A defensive lineman that's gonna play at whatever school that he can choose, and going against a 4A offensive line. That's what we're talking about. And I'm like, I know if he can get off, we're talking about swim moves and everything like that. We're talking about I could see a full bull rush move. You know what I'm saying? And those guys haven't seen it at Jackson, at least to my knowledge. I don't know what Jackson see, you know, on the regular, but to my knowledge, I know that they probably haven't seen a guy like Coleman on the regular just playing their 4A opponents. That's all I'm saying.
They need more, in my opinion, man. They need more. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Coach Kelly, man. Don't get mad at me when you see me, Coach Kelly. I just know. I don't see no defense. I don't see no defense down there. They lost Isaiah Woodard. I think he changed his last name. They lost a lot of key pieces. And, you know, Coach Kelly is known as an offensive coach. I think he played in the league offensively. So, like, he's known as an offensive-minded coach. But it's hard, you know, when defensive players see Ryan Williams going to Alabama and, you know, they like, well, shoot, I'm not getting noticed over here. I'm finna go somewhere else. You know, so that's what a lot of those kids are doing. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to have enough to deal with Duck, to deal with EJ, the deal, it's a lot that they're gonna have to deal with. I'd like to see it, man. That's first game. Everyone should be hyped up for it.
Yeah,
I think it must be easy. It's great. It's great for the area. It's great for the 251 area. I'm happy that it's gonna come up like that, man. It'll be dope to see how it plays out. Even if they lose, they win. You know, so Jackson in a good position, because even if they lose, they be like, man, we weren't supposed to win anyway. You know, so they
ain't got nothing to lose, and that's the scariest part about it. They don't have nothing to lose. So yep. I mean, that's essentially that's a playoff game to them. They can get hyped off of that game in itself. So they don't have nothing to lose. But I don't expect that Saraland goes in that game with like, hey, you know, they've been talking about it. I've seen it on, you know what I'm saying, different Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I've seen it all. I've seen the players talk about it. And that game is at Saraland. So August 23rd, that game is gonna be lit. It's just all about, you know, who's gonna play the cleanest football, first of all, and who's going to create that one turnover or maybe two turnovers, or maybe they force a punt, you know what I'm saying, which is basically essentially a turnover. But who's going to create those types of moments in the game, first game out, is probably going to be the winner of that game. And I would put, if I was a betting person, I would put my money on the people that have done it and only lost to probably the best team over the last 5 to maybe a decade and years, that just lost to a single possession to Clay Chalkville. I know it ain't the same team. I know it ain't the same team. Right. I know people gonna say that. I know they ain't the same team, but that's still the same. They still have that same DNA to get there. That's all I'm saying.
They lost to Theodore too, but we're gonna move on because we can talk about Alabama football all day.
Yeah, for real.
We love the banter, man. Y'all the experts. We just a small fish in the big pond.
Nah, we're trying to put it all together so it'll be one big pond.
I'm telling you, man.
Hey, amen. Amen.
Number 10 to 6. Let's get right to it. 10 and 6, baby. So, top 10. Here we go.
So here we go, man. So I had to put Jamarian Gordon here, man, at 10, man. I know not all ratings have him this high, but I think the kid for Jackson, I think he's special, man. He just recently flipped his recruitment from Alabama to UCF. Love that for him. I think he's a very elite corner. I think he's one of the special few in Bama where you can line him up almost anywhere too. I mean, I'm seeing him play some slot corner. I'm seeing him play some boundary corner. And a part of his game where I think he's elite, I think he's a good job of pressing people. Like, he can come up and get physical with you and kind of throw you off a little bit. And then he's good at driving on the ball. So if he sees it, he's good at play recognition, seeing what the quarterback is going to do, driving on the football, creating a deflection or a turnover. And I think he's underrated in his zone coverage as well. I just think he's a good IQ, good feel for the game, knows what he's supposed to do, man. Last year, 30 tackles, 7 passes defense, and an interception, man. Probably one of the better corners, I think, in the state, in my humble opinion. And then Marquise Daniel for Booker T. Had to give Booker T some love out here, man. Considered a 4-star prospect. Last year, 33 catches, 640 yards, 9 touchdowns. Good with the 50-50 ball. Dynamic playmaker, and I think he's really underrated route runner. Really good at selling what he's going to do. I think you see some of them, he's stepping one way and then he's going the other way on his route running. So I think when you can do that and you can kind of make that defender and that DB guess what you're going to do, that definitely bows in your favor, man. So love him there. And then Ace Vaughn in Cleveland. We got to shout out DownSouth for this one, man, because he had us meet him actually in person, man. He's working out at step-by-step training with Coach L. And you can just tell with this kid, man, and you can make the argument maybe he should be higher, but you can just tell that this kid wants it, man. Like, the way he goes about his work, you ain't got to really tell him what to do. He just in there just grinding, working like, I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to get out wherever I'm at. And I think he makes Parker really special defensively, because then you got a dude that can clog up the middle for you and can also get pressure on the quarterback, man, and get to the backfield pretty quickly. So I think he's going to have a good role with them. I think he's going to have a special season for them and continue to just blow up in the rankings. And then at 7 is Jaquez Wilkes. Special athlete, man. How many guys 6'4", 220, He's rushing for 1,792 yards, 22 touchdowns, and also 61 sacks and 61 tackles and 9 sacks. Good Lord. I mean, that's a lot of wear and tear on your body, man. I mean, we see it here in Georgia. You know, guys like, you know, from this past year, 2023, Sammy Brown. We see our 2026 class, Amari Latimer doing things like this. But that is special, man. When you can get that many carries, be that effective on both sides of the ball, and your team is really dependent on you. Hey, I love that. And then also as well, there's something that people don't know. He switched positions, you know, moved from middle backer, you know, after his freshman, sophomore year. So this kid is almost like one college coaches should love, man. You can move him all over the field, and he's going to still be effective as well, man. So Jaquiz Wilkes is special. And then Jermichael Garrett, Bacon didn't have him this high, but I advocated for him to be this high. Yeah. Just roll the damn tape. That's all I'm going to say about that kid. Like, yo, I'm looking like, yo, he's better than some Georgia players. Like, just how he's coming to the ball. Like, this dude is so quick, you know, and it continually makes plays in the backfield. 87 tackles, 26.5 for tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks, 3 PBUs, an interception. Like, the kid is just a dude, bro. Like, Auburn got a good one, bro. I can't wait to see what they do with him, bro. Like, you make the argument, like, really, for me, if I had it my way, I had Jermichael Garrett maybe like 3 or 4, bro. Like, that's how elite that dude is to me.
He's up there, though. He's definitely up there.
He's tough. But, like compared to, like, the other linebackers, he's an assassin. He's more like a missile. You know what I'm saying? I just think the other guy, they're just more bone-crushing linebackers, and that's compared to what I had seen. I was like, I can't compare apples to oranges when I got to see it.
Michael Garrett, he remember Rolando McClain and stuff, like he give me that. It's funny, man, because like he like a grown dude that ain't there yet, but he's grown. Like 100%. When you talk to him, like he like dead serious. Like you could just look at him and tell he dead serious. You know, like. That's what you want in the linebacker. You know, I don't want the nice church guy. I want the guy that'll slap a principal or something. Like, and he give me that vibe. Like, he give me that vibe, but like he'll bat the hell out of somebody. You know, so I like that vibe from the Wilkes kid. I knew him through Doug. Shout out to Grind Lab. Grind Lab put me on him early, right before he got his first offer. Kid special. He's playing small ball. So I do want to see them make it further in the playoffs. You know, and hopefully. You know, see him compete against other teams. Bonnie Cleveland, man, to me, he's gonna be a top 3 defensive lineman in the nation type of kid, bro. Like, he's that dominant. He's dominant. He's big. When we walked in, he was doing 2,000, what they call it, boat rolls or something that. He was doing 2,000 meters worth of boat rolls or whatever they call it on that machine. The kid is a specimen. He's young still. I expect him to just stand out. And then Daniels, man, the crazy thing about him is he's so big, you would think like he's just a wide receiver. But, you know, Booker T. Washington is, you know, once you hit 4, you're kind of hitting small ball. And they use him as a DB. And he has a lot of picks. If you go back and look at his max preps, he got a bunch of picks on there too. You know, kid is dynamic, man. He plays with Gas Crew, another great trainer. I think you guys met him at the Hoover 7-on-7 Gas Crew. Still did a great job with him. He's a great guy, great kid. Then Juice, man, is nothing. They call him Juice for a reason. You know, Juice is Juice, man. He got the juice. Physical corner, he can be physical with you. He can actually run with you. And he has great ball skills. His hips are great also. That's another thing. But for people to call him kind of, you know, usually when you play with physicality, you think the technique breaks down, but it doesn't really with Juice. So I like him being where he's at. You know, whoever put him right there, that's a great spot to put him in. I like Juice being right there.
Yeah, Gordon is definitely a player that you don't normally see in 4A ball. You see that style of play when you get up to your higher classifications, like 6 and 7. So very technical, very a solid corner DB style player. Could play pretty much anything, like you said, Najee. And just overall, the having him top 10 definitely fits into the mold of what Jackson is going to be last year and going forth into this year. So a very good spot for him. Daniel, I've seen him. I haven't really met him before, but I watched his tape before. I've seen him in the spring game really go off. And also just like what DownSouth said, just his film, just playing both sides of the ball, just kind of like doing things like that. So I think that his ceiling is a lot higher, especially at 4A ball. I know Booker T was one of those teams where we didn't really give him enough love in the state of Alabama. Some of us did anyway, but it'll be very interesting to see what they do this time around when you have teams like Jackson. Montgomery Catholic is going to probably step back, but what Booker T. Washington can probably do in year 2 of what Marquez Daniel is supposed to be for them. Vonnie Cleveland, like what we said before, he's done what he's done at Prattville, and probably none of you know what Prattville football is even at. You know what I'm saying? So what Vonnie Cleveland is going to do at Parker against what him and Crawford playing together, that's basically a SEC front, like off the bat, like they're going to play SEC style ball. So like I said before in earlier in our show, it's not what we see on paper with Parker, but it's what we're going to see Vonnie do with him only being there maybe 2 months into the process, really a summer, and see what he's going to do with Parker. Of course, he's got the work ethic. He's worked with Coach L. He's worked with, Coach Warren, the head coach of at Parker and things like that. But what is he going to do when Friday Night Lights turn on and actually, have to play against some of the top dogs in that first 5 games, and then when we get further in the playoffs? So I think 8 is a good spot for him to actually grow and be potentially that top 3 player amongst this list and everything. Jaquez Wilkes, amazing player. I got the same type of issues with him as DownSouth. I would like to see them, even though they lost in the 3rd round against Pickens County. Pickens County ended up losing to Coosa Christian, that ended up losing in the final. So they lost in the 3rd round. And I would like for a player like that, for me to actually crown him as someone that is, he's elite, but for me to have him in the top 5, we're talking about these guys being potential top 5 players in the state. I would like to see them actually get to that state championship level and do something with it. Let's see something. Once again, it's all about what you do with the amount of yards, with the accolades, with the touchdowns, with the sacks, the interception. What are you actually doing to benefit your team? Yeah, they went 11-2, but you lost to a Pickens County team that ended up going to the state finals 2 years ago. So obviously they have players that are doing something countering what you're doing as a player yourself. I know they have another back that totaled 1,100 yards as well, but overall, I would like for Jaquez to be able to expand on this list, and the only way I feel like he can expand on this list is if they get further in the playoffs, and that's potentially a state title. Jermichael Garrett, I actually know Jermichael Garrett. He's actually from my area, so it's actually cool to see his story kind of like blow up from literally having nothing, no stars, to coming from Oxford, to transferring to Gulf Shores, to blowing up in the circuits, to now he's considered one of the top linebackers, and really he's an athlete. Like, dude can go get it. He can play a drop down safety. He can play nickel. He can play outside for real. I seen him cover before in 7-on-7 and do really, really well at it. Where he's going to make his money at is probably, that star linebacker position at a next level or anything like that. But if I had to choose, I honestly would like to see him in that running royal type role where he can actually, maybe carry the rock or get the ball outside the hashes. I think he's that style of athlete, but it remains to be seen. I'm not too particularly sure what Garrett is going to do with Gulf Shores outside of, accumulate a lot of tackles and get a lot of picks. But ultimately, he's a player that, he's not just a linebacker. He is different, as what, Bacon said, comparing apples to oranges. Britt, Lyle, they're gonna go get you. They're gonna go get you. You know what I'm saying? But he's more cerebral with it. He's gonna be more of like the guy that, the assassin, if you will. Like he's gonna pick you apart and pick his kind of like shots to go kill you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was playing Garrett. That's what he did last year when he blew up on the scene. And like I said, I got a chance to see him at some national circuits this past season, and that's really when he like took it to another level because he was playing pretty much everything, and there were scouts out there and everything. So I know Gulf Shores, they move up from 5 to 6A as well. So that just put more eyes on you. The higher the classification is, unless you're just like a dude in 3 and 4A, or maybe even 2A or 1A as Wilkes is, then you're not really gonna get that many eyes on you. You might get some local grassroots eyes on you, But when you start moving up the ladder in 6 and 7A, that's when really everybody starts to kind of they just pay attention to you a little bit more. I'm pretty sure y'all experienced that in 6A ball in Georgia anyway. So
100%.
I mean, he's one of those players that he's gonna stick though.
I would say like Garrett's like a bigger, longer Deion Jones, if y'all remember him from
Yeah,
from LSU.
he's definitely a very athletic linebacker, and he can do pretty much everything. I ain't saying that he what I'm saying, he gonna put it in the dirt like Lyles, but I'm telling you, ain't from sideline to sideline, you're not gonna outrun him, and you barely for real gonna like coverage wise, you barely might get a ball over the top of him for real. That's how athletic he is as a linebacker.
And he running over your running back. You better put a lineman on him if he blitzes.
Yeah, you better chip him for real, because he gonna get one.
That's what I love to hear, man.
Mm-hmm. Experts, man, experts. All right, Jay, we ready for the 5 through 1, man. Let's get it reaction to 5 through 1.
5 through 1. I hope you boys are ready. This is the top 5. I want to know what you boys think. But let's get a drum roll in here.
Let's go. What you got? Okay.
Shout out Duck, Air Duck.
Shout out Duck. That's my dog.
I gotta fix that.
That's his first name?
Nah.
That's not his first name.
Landon is his first name. Landon.
No, we good. We already know.
Hey.
I feel good.
Dynamic, bro.
Hey, boy, you finna mess this up, man. It's prime time now. Hey, y'all. I don't know. I'm gonna throw it to my boys in a sec, but hey, I don't know what Jerome got going on. We love it. He's our graphics man. But man, come on, man. You can't be messing up Duck, man. You can't be messing up Landon Duck.
Nah, we good, man. We already know who Landon is.
Yeah, still though, man. This dude's a dude, bro.
Hey, my Quez Duck is that guy.
But he done put both of them together, boy. He done made a creator player.
Yeah, he went on Madden and made him.
Boy, hey, that man using Road to Glory, man.
Hey, he's a better player, 100%.
Listen, man, you gotta do all these graphics in one day. You be doing 8+ hours sometimes, man.
You be doing too much, yeah. I feel you.
But Duckworth, man. I just say rocket, bro. Man got a rocket, like man. Like strong arm type kid. 1,971 yards, 27 touchdowns. We've seen him multiple times. When we went to OT7, we seen him play. And I mean, man, we was impressed. I can't wait to see what he does this year. Y'all been talking about Jackson a lot, and I know y'all been talking about that matchup. I think y'all said they play Saraland. So going to see, kind of what gets down with that. What's going to happen with that one should be an interest in him. I mean, I don't know how many dynamic quarterback matchups I get to see every year, but KJ Lacey and him going at it. Hey, bro, we get it a lot in Georgia, man, and those be ones like, yo, bro, sign me up. Let's see who wins that. They going toe to toe, man. So. I just like Duckworth, man. I think he's an elite prospect. Whoever landed services, man, they're gonna be very happy. I know he's formally committed to South Carolina, opened back up his recruitment, but the kid is special, man. And every time I've seen him, he's grown on me. Yeah,
no doubt. Landon is a very poised individual, very good, good-hearted kid. Overall, like I said, you just don't find guys like himself in 4A football. Like I don't think people understand when you drop from really you start to kind of see a dwindling of talent as far as like elite talent, like Duckworth here, from 5A down, you really don't find it as much as far as like mentality, skill, and just overall can just dominate his not just region but in the state. And I think Landon is one of those players. The only other player that comes to my mind that was in 4A that can dominate, or two players actually that can dominate at that level was one. I know Jimmy Ogle from Jacksonville High School last year. I mean, he was a dynamic quarterback with his arm. He can run a little bit. You might not think he can run because you know what I'm saying, he ain't black or nothing like that, but he can get off, you know what I'm saying? But as far as the other quarterback that what's my quarterback name? What's the quarterback name from Montgomery Catholic that just graduated?
C-Mac, Caleb McCreary.
I mean, he ended up beating Jimmy Ogle head to head in the playoff game. Jacksonville lost to Montgomery Catholic that went to the state finals, and they won against Cherokee County. I think I told y'all that story, like not told y'all that story, but told y'all about some of the programs that y'all should know about in 4A in Cherokee County and Montgomery Catholic with some. But C-Mac, man, Caleb is a dynamic player. that can do it on the ground and everything. And like I said, Landon is that much like he's. If I were to order them, I would order them from Jimmy, C-Mac, and then Landon. And that shows you how much I have a respect for all three of them, but just really how much I have a respect for Landon. And like I said, for him this year, I think they're really thinking that they're gonna go all the way, and not all the way and lose it, but all the way and win it. And then he's gonna have another year to really, you know what I'm saying, get into his bag for real, for real.
Man, this kid just won a state championship, windmilling,
In basketball, yeah.
360 dunking. This kid is an animal, bro. He's a monster, man. I love this young fella, his work ethic. He works with QB Country. Shout out to Larry and QB Country, what they do for the kids. I agree, man. He has that ceiling. He has a high ceiling. When he decommitted from South Carolina, I instantly thought, man, is Bama or Auburn coming after this kid? You know, because he has the SEC talent. No offense to Caleb Curry and Jim Ogle, but Caleb was smaller, and Ogle, I didn't see the flashes. I seen flashes of it. I didn't see the consistency of it. But I really like him, man. I really like Duck. I like what he brings. I agree as far as 4A, but I do think in Alabama we have talent in all classifications. From the Henderson kids to, from 1A, you can point in a direction, and there's usually some type of D1 talent in that direction here in this state, regardless of classification. You know, now as a team, will they compete with a higher classification? No. But once you start hitting 4A now, it seems like 4A is reaching that peak where they have, you know, every region has a D1 caliber kid. You know, once you hit 5A, it's multiple. And then once you hit 6A, it's multiple on both sides, you know, and 7A is just ridiculous. So we've hit that stage where we're growing as a state with talent. When I was younger, AJ McCarron was playing at St. Paul. You know, St. Paul was probably 4A at the time. Or 3A, you know, so it's been that way, but now it's becoming more, you know, so it's beautiful to see to me, and I think Duck will be the top quarterback in the state and probably a top 10 quarterback in the nation.
Easy. Let me ask y'all this: is there a weakness in Duck's game, and who does he remind y'all of, either on the college level or the pro level?
I don't think there's a weakness in his game. I just think that overall that Jackson probably just got caught on one particular Friday night, and that was just it. You know, as far as some of his scrimps, I would say aren't talent. Like I said, you don't really see what you see in Duckworth. And we're talking about, you know, we're not just talking about great players that just get offers. We're talking about, you know, elite level talent that's going to play potentially at Bama, USC, South Carolina, which you be committed from, you know, Florida, all these schools. You don't see that in 4A football. Like the guys that I just named, from Jimmy Ogle to C-Mac, like one is playing at, you know, Louisiana Monroe, and then the other is playing at Troy, and that's D1 football. So, like, between them two and him, like, the ceiling is so much higher with Duck to be so much greater, and that top 10, top 5 quarterback player in the nation that we're talking about. So, no, I don't see any type of flaws in his game. I just think that last year was just one of those games where, you know, hey, they wish they had it back. You know what I'm saying? But like what DownSouth said, they won a state championship in basketball this past year. So maybe some of that flair, maybe some of that kind of, you know what I'm saying, that anticipation to want more will seep into this year, and they'll probably end up getting it done. I think that, honestly, they're probably the 4A favorites for a lot of people, if I'm being quite for real.
I think his weakness would be just the maturity. They want to see him lead right now. That's the only weakness you could probably dish out. A lot of that loss, though, I agree with Unlock Your Game. A lot of that loss came from, in my opinion, that he got out coached. It was a lot of third and miles. You know, it was a lot of situations. And listen, the quarterback for Booker T. Washington, his nickname was the Human Cheetah.
Elijah Hall.
Elijah Hall was a monster. So like, it was no shock there, you know, because we knew EJ had that in him. But I think it was just a out coaching thing, and the coach that was there, he's going to Tallahassee now. I don't know. I do feel like leadership is probably the one weakness that we want to see because Duck was a sophomore and now he's a junior. So we want to see him lead, calm the team down, make sure everyone's lined up, make sure everything's ran right, everyone's situated, and just let them know that you got their back and you're finna lead them to a victory. I think if he does that, he can elevate. He can elevate even higher. This kid's ceiling to me is high, you know. So I definitely think that everyone is looking at that leadership because they are expected to win it. Them and Pleasant Grove, I feel like, are probably the two guys. But it's a head-to-head matchup that everyone – I was telling y'all guys about him. Phillip Rivers' son, Gunnar Rivers, is in Landon Duckworth's region. So we will see that matchup during the season, and we'll probably see it again in the playoffs. You know, so it's possible that we see that 2 times for possibly a top 10 kid from this class, from the 26 class, and another possibly a top 10 kid from the 27 class. So it's going to be great to see.
So real quick. This I need a player comparison, college or NFL for Duck.
Oh yeah. You go first. Like you go first.
Man, that's a good spot up question for real. I don't see the kid running that much. So I mean, it got to be somebody that's like strong arm. Really just he's able to move if he has to move. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to put.
I like that. Shador Sanders.
Maybe. Shador.
Yeah. I guess you could say something like that. Like I don't want to give him like too much of a title and being like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. Like Vince Young or something like that. Like that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But like if you just think about like how
a good comparison. Without the wheels part, but like how RG3 used to sit back there a little bit. Would be a good comparison.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, that's a good one. But RG3, you know what I'm saying? Even in the year before he got hurt, he used his legs a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's tough. If I want to say anything like right now for a cool comparison that, you know, we don't see Shador running a lot. He's a
I think that would be a good one. Yeah.
He's a nice thrower of the football, and potentially, you know, he can be a top 5 pick down the road. So I would say, Shador. He has that swagger about himself too.
What about this thing? What about this thing? Because I think this kid has similar situations when he was in college. Like he was like, dude, you can start running, but he just chose not to. And I feel like Duckworth is the same. CJ Stroud.
Yeah, that's a good one. And really, if you want to just go overall, just total offense, what CJ Stroud had at Ohio State and what, you know, Landon Duckworth have at Jackson, like have a plethora of weapons, have a good running game. You know, they had a good run. Ohio State had a good running game, continuously having a good running game this year. So I mean, that's a pretty good comparison as far as on the arm talent and just overall finding his guys. And like you said, CJ doesn't really run. He probably can, but he doesn't.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah, he definitely can.
Y'all know why that is though, right? Why we getting more quarterbacks like that though, right?
Why you say that?
Makes you better offense.
No, bro, you getting more quarterbacks because you know what the I don't want to say superstition, but you know what the knock used to be.
100%.
You know, if he's black quarterback. So I think you see it now more taking that role. Like, let me show my arm talent first, compared to showing what I can do with running the ball.
I also think it's a trickle down effect though, because spread offense is trickle down to park ball, you know, and now that, like when I was in park ball, it was some wing tee, you know, it was some single wing, it was that type of vibe, but now it's spread in 8U, in 7U, you know, like they're spreading the ball out and hiking the ball in shotgun. No one's getting on the center anymore. So I think from that, these kids are developing that mindset of, okay, let me get the ball out of my hand quick. Let me dump it off. Let me get it out to my playmakers. And once they start hearing that, if you've been trained since a young age to do that, then it's going to be second nature to you. So I also feel like, yes, the narrative has switched from black quarterbacks, but also the training of the quarterback has trickled down all the way to park ball.
That's a good point.
100%. But we don't want to see any of that Lamar Jackson stuff that happened in the playoff last year. If you got the legs, fellas,
Use your legs.
Use your legs, man. Be
Use
yourself.
your legs, man. Use your God-given talent. Okay,
That's a fact.
please. But
Whatever's
that's it
going to
for
win you
5,
the game.
man. We're gonna roll the
Whatever's
4.
going to win you the game.
Yes.
All right, let's get to number 4, boys. Here we go.
All right, there is 4. That's Hezekiah Harris, edge rusher, man. Plays for I might be saying it wrong. Y'all brothers correct me if I'm wrong. Jemison.
May Jemison High School.
May Jemison.
Jemison High School. Thank y'all. Another Auburn commit, man. I feel like Auburn right now winning that battle. That in-state talent is ridiculous. I think they got like 8 of the top 10, maybe, or something like that.
Man, come on.
So they've been smacking it right now. Auburn's doing their thing, but another just explosive edge, really good with his hands and his feet, got really good footwork. I think what was underrated, he's really good at containing the run. Sometimes edges, you really see they're elite at rushing the passer, but this kid can contain the run as well and knows kind of his gap discipline, knows not to give up certain lanes and things like that, man. Really good special tape. And I think another kid that obviously he deserved to be in the top 5, and I think a kid that could really have an outstanding junior season.
Yeah. Like I said, this is another kid from the 256 area where I'm from, so I know Hezekiah like personally. Honestly, I've seen him grow a lot. Over the couple of years, he's actually transferred from a smaller level school, started to perform at a 6A level school now. My big thing is about the May Jemison product that they've been putting out is that before Coach White or anybody has gotten there, that the May Jemison program has struggled a whole lot. If you look at their record from last year, they struggled a lot last year as well, but they end up making the playoffs. So I mean, my whole thing is what I've always said before. He's a top 5 elite talent in our state, but also I know that he can't impact the way that maybe some of our quarterbacks or running backs or receivers can on the game as far as like winning the ball game. If you ain't scoring more than 14 points, I mean it ain't the defensive end's fault, it ain't the edge rusher's fault. It's the the offensive scheme. So I mean, of course, you can have a lights out defense that maybe limit other offenses to sell points. But I think my main thing is with how I've ranked Hezekiah is trying to be not too hard on what they've done in last year's season. This season forward, I think that May Jemison is going to be a whole lot better. They're in a region that is very winnable. They're in that Gaston City, South Side, Fort Payne region. Gaston City actually moves into that region. South Side actually moved into that region as well. And, Fort Payne came in second in that region. But ultimately, I think May Jemison has to put a lot more wins in the stock to kind of like backing the top 4 or top 5 brand that Hezekiah is, because like himself, like at rivals camps, at 247, at any camps, one-on-ones or anything like that, he's gonna beat you. Like he's gonna line up, he's gonna do his due, and he's quick off the ball, like he's gonna do his part. I just think ultimately, just trying to judge him not solely on what the team does, but what he does personally is a tough time for me personally on trying to rank him. That's why when I see him at 4, I'm just like, hey, I can get down with Landon, because they win. They're probably going to end up winning 4A, but I don't see a window of where May Jemison is going to win maybe their region, not 6A though. You know what I'm saying? So it's very hard just to, base my opinion on him. He's a great young man and a great player. I mean, he's definitely a talent, of course, you know what I'm saying? But as far as like ranking him, it's hard for me to rank him personally, honestly. But hopefully they get it down at May Jemison for real, because they got talent outside of Hezekiah that is really, really good. They just got to put all the chips down for real. So I think with his leadership, along with Grayshawn Swain and a lot of those other guys that they're getting in there, they'll be all right. But we'll have to see what May Jemison is really going to do this year for real.
Yeah, I don't care what they rank. They can win 0 games. This kid's 6'6", about 200. Like, bro, I seen him at LSU. I seen him at Auburn. This kid is a unit, man. And to me, when I'm looking at the individual talent and for the 26 class, just like Arch Manning, his team didn't win nothing over there in Louisiana, but he, they seen the potential, and that's usually how it goes. But this kid is a unit of a kid, bro. And you put him in a college program with proper lifting, proper nutrition, proper etiquette of learning football, he's gonna be a monster. Like, you could just look at him and say, "Oh, I can put 20 pounds, 30 pounds on that fella and make him 275, and he's the next Myles Garrett." You know, like, in my head, I could see that from that young fella. And that's a monster of a human being, man. Oh my God. Like, I'm telling you, I'm 6'3", you know, and like, I'm looking at him like, yo, this a big young kid, man. Like, that kid is big. That's a big kid, man. I like him. I like him this high on the list. I don't know what they have him ranked as far as edge, but he's one of the top edges in the nation, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just watching him move, he's definitely like that as far as how he's moving. I don't know his curl to flats ratio, so I don't know if he's a jack necessarily. I think he's more of an even front type of kid. I don't know if he's a jack, though. I do think he's hand in the dirt, go get after it, you know, C-gap, B-gap type player. But in my opinion, the kid is like that, and he's as advertised.
Yeah, no, I think where a lot of where I come across of differences across a lot of people in the state is that there, of course, when you have the intangibles of, you know, you can't coach 6'6", you can't coach, you know what I'm saying, height, weight, and just sheer hand sizes and things like that. Like, if he goes to the right program, he's gonna perform. Like, we know that off of rip. I think the thing about it is that when you put, just like the same thing I got with Jacquez, like, we mutually agreed that we need to see more out of a player that produced way more on film against, you know, Hezekiah Harris, and he's top 10. He literally ran 1,800 yards, had 20 plus touchdowns, and had, you know, X amount of sacks.
That's 1A. That's in 1A.
That's 1A. But what we're talking about is what region they're in 6A. They're not even in the tough region in 6A, is what I'm saying. And last year, they got beat by Decatur. They got beat by Fort Payne. They got beat by Athens, Huntsville. Barely beat Hazel Green by a point. And that team didn't even win a ball game last year. You know what I'm saying? So what are we really doing as far as, like, not saying that it's on him to do it, but all I'm saying is, how are we validating the list? Are we validating off of hand sizes, height, weight, and potential?
Yeah, it's pure talent. It's pure. Look, rivals don't care about your record.
If you
rivals don't care about your record.
That ain't won a ball game 1918. You talking about pure
rivals
talent?
Don't care about your record. Rivals 247.
I know they don't care about your record, but sometimes
college
rivals
coaches don't care about that.
Completely right at all. We just heard it from Najee Bacon and Jerome right there. That we're not using 247 or rivals as a guideline. We're making our own. So why?
Look, a college coach is trying to get you to the next level, and they're bringing
I'm not arguing with the height and size. I'm saying the overall production. I'm saying, where's the production? Where's the production? Give me the production. Give me what I can see.
It's not about that, though. It's not about that. You're basing it off team success, and we're saying this individual is one of the best in the 26 class.
We know he's one of the best, but what I'm saying is he's better than some of the other guys that have been producing.
Though. What do you mean?
If we go back down the list to 5, is he better than a Landon Duckworth that is a top 5 quarterback that is produced? Are we talking about a top, like, other players that have produced? We're talking about a player.
This ain't my list.
No disrespect on the player, but all I'm saying is he hasn't produced like the other players.
I get your list. Nah, I get what you're saying, bro. My whole thing fucked up, bro. But nah, I get his point. To be honest with you, Unlock a Game, it's a mixture of both, right? It's a little bit of what you do on the field, and it's a little bit of your talent, and it's like how. And it's to your point, like, is your team winning games because of you? And the thing is, it's hard off edge, you know, especially high school, to be as disruptive. Because what if your offense is trash? You know, what if the offense is not that good, right? You could be having dominant games, but y'all don't know these teams.
Y'all don't know the teams in their region. We talking about Hazel Green. Down South don't know Hazel Green. Hazel Green ain't won a ball game.
It's a basketball area for sure.
What I told you, Bacon, I said, you don't go to Huntsville to watch
football.
You know, like, that's not what you go to Huntsville for. You know, you come down Mobile.
But what I'm saying is, we're talking about a top 5 player that
he's a top
is known as a basketball school, and y'all lost 19-18, and we got him above Vonnie Cleveland, Jacquez Wilkes, and Jermichael Garrett. Guys
What
that
you
have won
doing? What y'all
championships.
doing?
See, now I see.
Hey,
A sack
Hey,
artist has high value, and I understand what you're saying about Bonnie Cleveland about being a bigger athlete. But when I seen this young man right here, saying despite what talent he may play against, but if you can produce high sacks, that'll entice a GM, college coach, and a fan to pick. Yeah, I'm gonna take Myles Garrett over so and so. So I'm gonna take.
But Biden was at
over
Prattville though last year. They was ass. We can't sit here and pretend like
Oh
Prattville
yeah,
was good last year.
most definitely. But what I'm saying is also is he transferred to Parker.
Yeah.
Like that negates the whole, you know what I'm saying? He's at
That's
Prattville
true.
thing.
That's true.
I see what you're saying though. Like
I get his
you
point.
bring
I
up
get
some
your
valid
point.
points. I see what you're saying.
I do feel like he's a top 5 edge regardless of what.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not saying that.
I'm not talking about in our state. I mean,
right.
like nationally.
I'm not saying that he's not top 5 or you know what I'm saying. Potentially where we have him at is 4. Yeah. I'm just saying that we have literally 5: Atlanta Duckworth, Jermichael Garrett, who won a championship, Jaquez Wilkes at 1A football. Yeah, I get that. Of course, like I would probably put them around in the same range. This is literally I'm talking about like this is how I like to get though. Like I like to like it's splitting hairs. You know what I'm saying? Like really you can go either or either way. We talking about a Marquez Daniel that you know what I'm saying. He only had 700 yards like as far as like receiving yards, but we've seen him blow up over the course of you know what I'm saying this past year when they went to the 4th round and in the spring game. So I'm just like, yes, he's at 9, but his production and his scripted schedule and where he's going in his team, I would bet that Booker T. Washington is probably going to go a little bit further than what Mae Jemison is going to go this year, and how that he's going to impact this team is much way better than how he can probably potentially impact Mae Jemison's team. That's all I'm saying. And they have another edge rusher, a 4-star, was Grayshawn Swain. That's the 2025 kid. I'm just like, they got kids. It's just all about, I know the ins and outs of Mae Jemison. It was only the first, really Coach White only got there one. He didn't even get there in the full season. So he really didn't have the guys all together. So the struggle is that he ain't had a full season. Now, if they go out, they ball and win the region, hey, he could be number 1 for all I care. You know what I'm saying? Like, he that guy. You know what I'm saying? But all I'm saying is that we just talked about, Jermichael Garrett, which is a guy that I really, really high on as far as like what he's able to do on and off the field and just basically, pick his spots as far as like being a successful player. And of course, Hezekiah is one of those guys where the measurables are there. You know what I'm saying? It's just all about what he's doing stat-wise, in my opinion, on why I would have him maybe outside the top 5 or maybe at 5. That's just my opinion. But I think the player is great individually. They just got to show me something as a team for me to be like, yeah, he's solidified top 5 in my opinion.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, we respect your opinion, man. We love it, man. We love that you got like that, man, and gave us some good insight, man. So you know the state better than we do, man. So we lean.
Oh no, I'm just giving. Look, if y'all can clip that up, y'all can do whatever y'all want with it. It's just that I couldn't let it slide and just be like, he just a specimen of a player. And they sitting up here, they went 3-8, and they got scrubbed by Parker. And I'm just like, I don't even know.
It's not a lot you can do though. You could be a specimen and still go 3-8 though, bro.
Yeah, no, for sure. You can be a specimen and go winless. But all I'm saying is that if we want to talk about basketball, Caleb Holt is we talking about basketball and football, and of course it's a 5-man game. But at the same time, you don't see, specimens just going 3-8 all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, they impact the game and they gonna win a ball game. You know what I'm saying?
No, you do see it. You do see. He can't control what go on the offense unless he a wide receiver. So I could see them doing something like that. But like, he really can't. I'm telling you, this football, man, is different. It's different. You can be a 5-star athlete and your team can be boo-boo, like, hey, it's the truth.
No, it's definitely the truth. All I'm saying is they lost to East Limestone team that went 3-7.
What's his coach name?
Who?
Hezekiah. What's his coach?
Oh, Coach White.
Coach, hey, Coach, man, we need more than how many wins?
3.
We need more than 3 wins, Coach.
They gonna get more than 3 wins. Like, I know
need more than 3 wins.
Y'all boys is funny, man.
That's why y'all tune in first and foremost, ladies and
It's why
gentlemen.
you tune in, man. You don't get content like this everywhere, man. We give you the real and authentic, and we give you the spiel, man.
Yes,
He
sir.
came from Anderson too, didn't he? The coach.
Say it again.
I was asking, did he come from Anderson, the coach?
Yes, he did. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He getting his guys in there. You know, he got, you know, his team around him, like even coaching staff that is going to be put in place. First year, actually, this is his actual first year full off season with the squad. So, like I said, Hezekiah is going to ball out. He's a class 2026 guy, so he got him for the next 2 years. Then, like I said, you got Grayshawn Swain, which is another, you know what I'm saying, he a defensive end / you know, he can stand up a little bit. But you got those two guys. And then you got a plethora of other guys that, you know what I'm saying, can impact the game. I actually went to go over there and visit it, and they got, like, different guys. Like, they got dudes. Like, I'm not saying that they ain't good. Just because they had a 3-8 record don't mean they're not good. It just, as far as getting the structure correct for that program. And I just think that ultimately when I just look at the schedule and from last year, 2023, it's just some games that are just shaky to me. Like, I don't see, and I know some of y'all, I mean, you wouldn't know the programs and how good they are, but some of these programs they do not win. And they Mae Jemison is barely beating these programs or they ain't winning. So I'm just like, that's a red flag for me. Now, second year, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll see what's going on against maybe a Decatur or Fort Payne next year, or Athens or Buckhorn or Hazel Green. But if they barely beat a Hazel Green team next year and Hezekiah is on that team and I see a stat line where it says like he got 5 tackles and no sacks or maybe a half a sack credited to him, that's a problem. Like, we just have to call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you not playing up against, you might play up against Parker. Like, you might get up for games. But when it's an opponent that's trash, you might have a problem getting up for that game. We see it all the time in the collegiate level and the NFL level. Like, there's people out there that get up for big games and they fall flat when we don't see when it's a Thursday night game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just giving it out to us as this is high school football and this is like high school podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is for real. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
100%. Well, we got 3 more guys that we need to talk about tonight before we get on here, get out of here. Let's get to our number 3 guy. Let's go with it, Naj.
All right, man. So Shadarius Tootle. So I know a lot of rankings they have him like right outside the top 5, but a kid I had to put very high. I just like what the kid can do, man. Plays for Cottage Hill, Christian Academy. Had over 31 offers, committed to Auburn. Great all-around athlete. They use him in a multitude of ways. They use him direct snaps from under center. He's running routes like a receiver. I think you can make the argument with some of the other top athletes in Bama. I think he's right on that list, man. Can come downhill and make big hits. I know Bacon referred to the other guys as a missile. I guess you call this guy Tank Bacon. What he's able to do, man, coming downhill. So was real special. Multiple pick sixes last year, 103 tackles, man. 10 sacks. I really like this one. He was one of my favorite ones. Him and JaMychal Garrett, I hold in very, very high regard. Just looking at their film and what they can do on the football field. Just very, very, very special players, man. But yeah, he plays,
y'all
really
finna think I'm a contradictory MF because boy, well, unlike your game just said, applies here too. Because boy, they were trash. They were trash, man. And they're gonna be trash this year too. You feel me? I don't know.
That's something I wanted to know. I didn't know how good they was actually gonna be, to be honest with you.
Man, Cottage Hill don't look that good, man. So I don't know. And they're in 3A. T.R. Miller probably gonna run 3A this year. No offense, and Thomasville down there too, man, and Montgomery Academy down there. So it's gonna be real tough in 3A for them. And I think Houston Academy is down there too. So it's not gonna be easy to try to even make a push. But man, if we going off your criteria, hey man, hey, you gotta bag it up, so baby.
Look, I just now, like, maybe this year or so, I just really got put onto the player. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know him as much. I know that his dad followed me on social media as well. They do a lot of advertising for him. Like, he's a very marketable player. Of course, he's one of the top players in the state. I know he does everything Swiss Army knife for, that classification of ball. Honestly, if you're anything below 4A and you're a special player like we're talking about on the top 5, like you better be able to do like almost everything. If you're not like an edge rusher or a quarterback or something like that, like you better be able to catch the ball, run the ball. You better be able to almost line up on defense and get some picks for us as well. So I do think that he is that special of a player. As far as the criteria of just wins, I know that T.R. Miller is a good team. I know they got a kid that does play both sides of the ball as well. They're running back and linebacker. He came off an injury as well. But overall, I think that he is as advertised. I just don't know. I don't know where he gets the chance to, outside of going to camps and rivals and 247 and things like that, and just seeing tape against maybe it's in like the first quarter, second quarter, halftime when he's doing all this stuff. I'm not for sure because
This
some
is measurables too. I stood next to him at Auburn at Big Cat. He a big boy. He a big boy.
And measurables definitely help. When we're talking about these next level athletes, of course. So I don't want to like the whole May Jemison thing. I don't want people to be like, hey, well, I mean, if we ain't winning, we don't think we fired, nothing like that. No, I just feel like it's a different. When you're putting up stats, when you're putting up things, and you have a strength of schedule, it matters to the point of they ain't even make the playoffs last year. You know what I'm saying? So how can we really grade you on what you've done in the span of when the games actually matter? You know what I'm saying? Outside of having your measurables and having film that we can watch and put together and envision you playing. You know what I'm saying in these situations. But no doubt he's probably more than likely the player that he can line up anywhere. I know. I'll give y'all an example, and I'm done with that. I'm done with it. Like, he was this one kid from Mumford. His name was Sylvester Smith, and he literally stayed at Mumford, elected not to go to another school when he literally told, like, after all this had happened, he literally said that he could have went to almost any school. Like, he had people calling him to come to their school. You know what I'm saying? And they went like 4-6. He ended up being a 4-star or whatever, and played at Auburn. He's still playing at Auburn right now to this day. But overall, he could do just about anything that the coach asked him to do, and still at Auburn now. He is on the roster. He's excelling, actually. You know what I'm saying? So like the point of what DownSouth said, the record of the team don't mean anything. It's just overall what the player can do at the next level, and it just tweaks and criteria that when we make these lists, we can come together and talk about these players. But it's really to each his own when it comes to talent and what they can do at the next level. So I don't doubt that Tootle can do what he need to do on the field if he were to I mean, it's too late now. Well, I don't think it's too late, but if he were to go to a different school, he can do what he wanted to do. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
All right.
So comment bacon. You said nothing about Tootle?
Nah, it's dynamic, bro. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you as an edge force interceptions, be versatile, man. You know what I'm saying?
He's special. He's special.
Yeah,
special.
I watch his tape. He a good dude. Like he a next level type cat. But it just the wins and the losses. People weight him different. So like I said, I think it's a good fit for him being special. If we're just judging him off of his spectacular talents.
Well said.
All right, go to 2, man.
All right, let's get to number 2. Here we go.
All right, man. Anthony St. Jones, man. Special player, man. I feel like if he's not your top 2, man, I don't know what you're doing. Plays with St. Paul Episcopal. Another one of those guys, man. Just film jumps out, man. Really good coming off the edge, man. I seen him playing a little bit of running back as well. Has an elite get off. Nice first step. Good dip and bend as well. Just has a crazy type mode. I seen a couple plays, man. Plays all on the other side of the field. He's running the play down, making a big hit, man. So you ain't gonna have to ask this kid to give no effort. He gonna give it to you naturally, man. So I love that, and I love that he has multiple moves. He don't just use the bull rush or speed, right? He can use a whole bunch of different things in his arsenal to get to the quarterback. So love that, man. Very physical type player, and I think one of the best in the state, let alone the country.
100%. And he affects the passing. My bad, down south. And he affects the passing game. Coming off the edge, man, got his hands up. That's really what I feel like separates outside linebackers and defensive ends from everybody else. If you can affect the quarterback throwing the ball, being that close, big time.
This is my number 1 player in the nation right here, man. This kid, man, I seen him grow, bro. Like, he from my city. St. Paul is a brand name when you speak Alabama high school football, St. Paul is a brand name. You know, they produce that. You know, this kid as a freshman, first round, they were supposed to get put out by Carver because they was the 4th seed. They beat Carver in Montgomery, went up to Pelham, beat Pelham. No, Pelham came down to them. They beat Pelham. Like these kids, and he did that as a freshman. This year, I'm expecting some bigger things, you know, and his sideline to sideline movement is crazy. If they need him to play running back, he'll play running back. If they need him to play wide receiver, he'll play wide receiver. If you need him to play quarterback, if you need him to fix the Gatorade, whatever it is you need him to do, he will do, long as y'all can win. Like he's a winner at heart. You know, like he got that in his mind. Like I just love that kid's mentality. It's hard to train that. It's hard to train that. You have you ever played with someone with like, if you don't have it, he would get you. The coach isn't telling you to get out the field. He's telling you he's one of them type of guys. Like, hey, get out the field. And you like, yo, coach ain't tell me. And nah, Tank told you to get out the field. So you finna get out the field. 100%. Like, he's one of them type of kids, man, where he want nothing but dogs around him. He want to play with dogs. He want everyone to play with that tenacity. And when he hits you, you're going to feel it. So, yeah, I love this kid, man. And I think he's the next great linebacker to come out of Mobile that's gonna make a lot of noise.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that I haven't got a chance to meet him at all. Just watch tape on him. So really, honestly, whenever I speak from just either I either know that kid personally, know of that kid, seen him on the circuits or anything like that, or just went to their school. So this is actually one of the first players that I haven't really like met him at all, haven't really talked to him or nothing like that as well. But I do respect the aspect of what he has done over a body of work, and now going into his junior year, they're not anyone to like joke around with or play around with. Like St. Paul's is one of those programs where they are, they're here. You know what I'm saying? They're in the same region with Gulf Shores, Saraland, some 2 top dogs that went to the state finals and won a state championship. So they're going to compete. And then Theodore, they got a big transfer too as well. So they're going to be right there with a legendary coach as well, Steve Mash. So just overall, what St. Paul's is able to do and what he's able to do, what Down South has already said, with him contributing on the defensive side. And if you need to run the ball up the middle for a goal line score, or if you need a bust one for, 40, 50 yards, he could do that. So, I mean, ultimately, I think the season got cut short, but I think with the body of work that he's done over the past couple of seasons, this year, it wouldn't be no surprise that he will solidify himself as potentially one of the top linebackers in the nation, honestly, for real. In 26, he should maybe even be one.
100%.
Thanks.
I kind of got some. This is some quick news. A Hoover player by the name of Jordan Tyler Williams came out and he kind of just said some just a brighter side on Coach Gilmer. He said they're the best coaches in the state of Alabama, and they're the reason why Hoover program is becoming great again. I understand why people are in disbelief, but I promise you can ask our entire roster that Coach Gilmer and Coach Helms have the most love for us. Yeah, the coaching was different from the last few aggressive. It says, excuse me, y'all. Yes, sir, coaching was different from the last few coaches that we had, but we just have to accept the fact that they're aggressive coaches, and that's what makes them win a state championship. So I wanted to throw that out there. And the name of the kid is Jordan Tyler Williams.
All right, man. Let's move to the final one.
Let's go. Real quick before we get to our final one, I want to ask both Down South Steve and Unlucky Game, who is your number one guy? I know Down South. I think you said Anthony Jones is your number one.
Yeah, Tank's my number one.
Correct? Definitely. Unlucky Game, who will be your number one before we reveal our number one?
If I had to really choose a number one out of like just this list and everything, I think it would be really, really tight. Between Landon Duckworth and probably Jermichael Garrett. I feel like those 2 guys in itself, I know that Jermichael has already won him a championship. He's contributed on a championship level team and aspiring to get more in 6A football. And we know what Landon Duckworth is going to be able to do in 4A football by himself. So over the next 2 seasons, I think those 2 players could potentially take that next step into being, top 5 or one of the top 3 really for real. So if Landon and the Jackson Aggies win a championship this year, I think he can creep his way into being top one and not really nothing else. And if Jermichael Garrett wins another title on that team that has a couple pieces coming back, of course they don't have Ronnie coming back. But if he's able to either sniff a state title or get around and hover that area, I think as much as he contributed on that team, a Gulf Coast team that is really young, honestly, for real, as far as the program itself. But those two players, I would say, is my vote for leaning a little bit more towards Landon just because of sheer what he can do and maybe even be one of the vote for Mr. Alabama or something like that if they win. I don't even think a fourth player's ever won Mr. Alabama, to be honest with you.
That'll be tough.
All right, now let's get to our number one.
Number one. We know this is not y'all number one, but we've seen him up close and personal. Man, Cedarian Morgan, man. I mean, when you able to kind of one up, I don't even say one up. When you able to produce what they producing at the wide receiver spot, yo, dog, you gotta take notice. Malcolm Simmons last year, special player. I know he didn't necessarily have a season, maybe up to y'all standard of what a number one should be having. But yo, when we see him up close and personal, and what he was doing to Kevin on 7, double coverage, killing them boys on the routes. Now he probably gonna face a lot of double coverage this season. Yo, this kid, physical specimen, man. This kid is just a dude, bro. I really think he should
I had a feeling.
Rankings.
He goes,
man. They're in that dude, bro. I'm just saying.
Julio Jones 2.0, man.
You know what I'm saying? I put him as one of the top players in the country. We could probably go put him on. I'm telling y'all this. We go put him on a 7A or 6A program, 5A program 100%. In Georgia, and he'd be probably the top ranked player here. And you know how competitive Bama's great. I just don't think Bama gets always the best exposure. But I'm telling y'all, he would be nationally, maybe top 5 nationally. Top 4 nationally if he was at a Georgia.
You know the school that he go to. You know the famous guy that came from there.
You know who?
Terrell Owens.
Terrell Owens came from Benjamin Russell. That's insane.
Yep.
I didn't know
that's
that.
Insane. By the way, that's crazy.
Yeah, they're known for that. They're known for that.
Good Lord.
That's crazy.
Nah, quick story, and like I said, that is a very good number one. I don't think you can really get in any arguments about Cedarian Morgan being number one. Stats don't quite line up as far as because you had another 4-star on the other side, Malcolm Simmons, like you said before. But I remember seeing him in the spring game against Gardendale 2 years ago, I believe so. And Malcolm scored his touchdowns, did his thing, whatever like that. But I remember this kid, I was like, bro, that dude big, bro. He's big. He's super big. And I'm just he made an amazing grab on the sideline, on the opposite sideline, because I was on the Gardendale side. And I said, he going to be something special, bro. I didn't know his name at that time. I knew their running back, and I knew Malcolm, of course. Their running back is called T.J. Wilson. He a class 2025 guy. But my hiccup is, and I mean, he a mismatch nightmare. He make a 50-50 ball 90-10 for real.
Man,
so
what?
really for real. It don't even matter. It don't even matter about the quarterback because I know that they lost their quarterback from this past year. But I feel like from 707 and just watching tape from the Auburn game, I feel like that kind of silenced any type of doubt that I had personally about how his performance was going to be this year, because I'm just last year they lost in the 3rd round. So I was trying to see what can they do as far as Benjamin Russell, how would they be? And I think they'll be just fine. Of course, with having Cedarian Morgan as a true ex-alpha receiver. So I don't have many arguments about it. I think that his stat line is going to prove that he's a number one player in class 2026, of course, and on this list. But ultimately, he's a dog at receiver, and I don't have any complaints about it, honestly.
That's first of all, that's another Gas Crew athlete. Shout out to Gas Crew. He seems to produce top guys every year, and it's no different with this 26 class. Gas Crew has his hands on this list. He popped off the screen, like you said. I remember seeing him at the Gardendale spring game when Mac Beason and was their quarterback Gabriel Benton. Was that his
Gabriel
name?
Benton, yeah, that was his name, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. And then this past time at Hoover, man, the kid was he was doing some incredible stuff. I seen him catch the ball on 2 boys, made them collide in between each other. Like it was just some incredible stuff I was seeing from this young fella, man. I can't believe he slipped my mind because I was trying to figure out like who's the number one. Who they got at number one? And I was like, and when I seen it, I bust out laughing like, yo, wow. Y'all caught me on that one. Y'all really caught me on that one.
Yeah. I mean, the kid 6'4", 220 plus probably. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a physical specimen. Like what all these guys, these top 5 guys, like any type of guy that hasn't been in the court is a physical specimen. So like they're going to be playing on a Saturday roster and potentially even a Sunday roster. So 100%. I mean, Sadarian Morgan is a legit alpha receiver as far as class 2026 goes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. That was a good pick. You can't go wrong with it. So I agree. That was a good pick. Mine was Tank. Who did you say yours was? Duck or
I'll probably go
J Mike. Duck or J Mike. Yeah, I mean, did y'all unanimously? Did all three of y'all unanimously agree on Morgan?
Si, senor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, don't worry. Really, the only one.
We sent Jay some footage. He couldn't come to Hoover with us, but we sent him some footage.
Yeah.
So it was Tank for y'all for number 2. Like
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, take that dude.
Easy.
Take that dude.
I like it. You gotta respect it, man. I gotta respect it because it's an outside looking in view. So I like that. And then it's different criteria for every because you just heard Unlock Your Game. You hear my view, you know, everybody have their different criteria for what they're looking at. You know, and at the end of the day, all of this is subjective. We're all just trying to throw it out there and say what we like and what we view as these kids. But man, believe me, this top 25, all these kids have potential to play, like you just said, on Saturdays and Sundays. And get that free education is the first thing. Get out your mama house, stop eating the food, be able to buy you some clothes with your little NIL.
Yeah.
Hell on, you know. So yeah, man, I like it, bro. I really do. I like it.
Let's get a rating. Hey, Baker, should we do a grade or should we do 1 through 10?
So let's go grade.
All right, I want y'all both to give it a grade, honest grade. Like y'all in the mind, y'all go to these games, like y'all are plugged in. Like y'all give us an honest grade on that 2026.
Nothing lower than a B.
Yeah, be transparent, man.
You talking about on y'all list?
Yeah, on our list.
I didn't like Omar being so high on that list. I didn't like Gibson being so high on that list. It was somebody else I didn't like. What else I didn't like? It was something else. You said something unlocked. What did you say? It was something you said.
I feel like
I think Brock Bradley being at 20. Was he at 25?
Yeah, he was at 24. I feel like if I were to be honest, I probably would give you. It's some guys on here that
you gonna say C. I could tell it.
It ain't no C. It's some guys that I'll switch around, like some good guys that I'll switch around. I do feel like you hit them in certain sections. To be honest with you, like in my opinion, y'all best section, in my opinion, was probably in between 6, 10, and 11, 15. I feel like that was a really
11,
good
15. Yeah, that was a good section.
That was a really solid section. Like I can get down. Like of course I kind of disagree with the Jonah part with Keon Chapman kind of swapped them around and stuff like that. But I think that you hit it kind of on the head with that one. And as far as like the 6 through 10, I feel like those are some really good guys. Botany coming into Parker automatically. I mean, at Prattville, he probably would have been top 10 regardless. But he's a ceiling guy where he can be top 1 for real. Like if you have a really good season at Parker and they win it all, like I wouldn't be surprised if he's at 1 at the list next year. You know what I'm saying? As far as like when we get kind of up at the top, that's when that criteria kind of happens. So I got some little things there and there, but 20s is where you kind of like.
Great.
What do you say?
I said, give us a grade.
No, man, I gotta give y'all the descriptions, bro. I can't give y'all the grade, bro. Like, I can't give y'all like, you know what I'm saying, a D and be like, well, I didn't know that gave us a D. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
hey, we cool with it. We want to be like that.
I gotta be how I feel about it. And then, like I said, the really 19 and down is some guys on there that I'm like I would shift around. But overall, I probably would give you a strong B for real. It's some minor swaps. You know what I'm saying? Some minor swaps.
All right, I fuck with
I give you a B minus.
Okay. I respect it. I respect it.
The real reason why I can say I can give you a veto for real, I would just say that Brock Bradley has a potential to be higher. Omar Matson should be higher. Zion Gibson should be higher. That's 3 right there. And then when you get to kind of like your top tier type guys, like I said, it's just preference. I would say some different type of guys, but that's 3 to 5 guys that I can kind of swap around that'll be maybe top 10 for me. You know what I'm saying?
100%. I can take that. I can take it on the chin.
Who would it be?
Gentlemen, thank you guys for getting on with us today. Oh, you want? Go ahead, say something. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, if we get a matchup where we get Benjamin Russell versus Gaston City, which I hope so, if we could see Zion versus freaking man, that's money. I'm telling you, that is money. That is a Saturday matchup, bro.
I pay money to see that 100% and cover the game.
But I'll leave it alone.
Well, guys, we appreciate y'all getting on for sure. You know, I know it's been a long podcast. We appreciate y'all getting on and letting us know how our list. And before we get off, I want you guys to plug your socials, plug everything. Let us know where you're going to be in the next couple of weeks.
100%.
I'll go first. Yeah, so you can follow me at Unlock Your Game. Basically, it's spelled how it said, Unlock Your Game, on Twitter, Instagram, even on Facebook. We post on Facebook too. Like I said, the next few things that we have coming up, we'll have a docuseries with 2 schools, one with T County, Tuscaloosa County is in the west part of our state, and then Oxford, which is, y'all should know what Oxford is. It's basically Calhoun County, kind of on the eastern side of I-20, right before you get into, Douglas County and all that type of good stuff too. So we'll have 2 different series going on with them, and then we'll hit different games. But y'all can follow me at Unlock Your Game on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Definitely. DownSouth?
Hey, man, DownSouth Football 1 on Twitter, 09 Sports on IG. I ain't telling y'all to follow me. I'm an asshole at the end of the day. I just love football. I love these babies, man. I try to do what I can for them. Yeah, man, but I definitely what I got coming up is some football. I'm not coming to your game if you running the wing tee or the single wing. Only wing I want to see on the Friday night is some buffalo sauce, lemon pepper, and stuff like that. I don't want to see nothing that got to do with the wing tee. Don't invite me to your game if you running the wing tee. But besides that, man, hey man, we got some football coming up starting next week, so that's what I'm on.
Yes, sir. Well, appreciate you guys being on, man. I'm sure we're gonna get some fire comments from these lists. I'm sure we are, but we want the smoke. And yeah, it's just a learning curve, man. We gotta get into the Alabama realms a little bit more and be on y'all side of the border a little bit more. And so, again, we do appreciate you guys, and always make sure all our followers go follow them right now and show them some love. They're doing some great stuff in Alabama. So once again, thanks DownSouth and Unlock Your Game for being on with us.
Much love, fellas.
All right, gentlemen. Real quick, how bad do you think we're gonna get criticized for this list?
probably pretty tough. Maybe like just like a smidge of like, all right, we get it.
I feel like they're both about to give us C's, by the way. I think they were trying to be nice, but they both about to give us C's, man. I got that feeling. It's like,
B- is the C, bro.
It's all good, man. We're not even, we're not from Bama. We've been there a couple times, so it's all good. It comes with the territory, and everybody's gonna love your list, man. But at least we try.
I mean, too. We get people in Georgia getting mad at us for our Georgia list. So it's gonna have some controversies.
It's gonna happen, man. I just love that we venturing into new ventures and going into other states, man, and just trying to build our brand and platform there, like not just in Georgia but the Southeast. I think it's a great opportunity for us, and I'm sure we're gonna get more kids like, yo, you tripping? Why am I not on the list? And I think it's gonna be successful, man. We're becoming known for these lists now, and people are starting to like this top 25. So I think it's just another growing stone for us. And then obviously we'll have one more next week, the top 2027, and we'll get probably working on that this weekend, and then have a great Alabama guest on. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get grilled a little bit, but it's all good.
100%, man. I'm looking forward to it. I might have somebody for next week, by the way. I might have somebody for next week. I'll let you guys know. But once again, that's gonna do it for us today. Bacon, you want to break us down, man?
For sure, ladies and gentlemen. As you can tell by the show, there was a lot of good information, a lot of real talk, and a lot of pizzazz and a lot of flavor that you can only find right here on the First and Foremost podcast. But we not only give you the spill,
we keep it real.
Let's go.
Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Kiss your babies, kiss your mama, kiss your auntie. And don't forget, ITH Football for 10% off at Phenom Gear.
Yeah, let's get it. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night. Next week for next list. Peace.
Dubs in the chat.